Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are MC.
The Royals have a little more than a month to figure out if Mike Aviles is still a shortstop, a second baseman, or a utility infielder. How about Keila Kaihue? Is he a first baseman or a DH? Can he hit in the middle of the order? Keila and Mike are in there tonight against Cliff Lee and the Rangers next on Fox Sports Kansas City. Sean O'Sullivan is coming off his best start as a Royal, but still looking for his first win as a starting pitcher. A couple of years ago, he was 2-0 as a starter against the Texas Rangers. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark. I'm Ryan Lefebvre with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. And the Royals obviously haven't had the season that they were hoping for, but opportunity still exists, and that opportunity is to get a long look at some players whose roles are not yet established.
Well, that's true, Ryan. It's going to be a busy September in that regard. One of the guys is Mike Aviles. He's one guy that they really are going to have to really make a decision on. Can play three positions, but coming off being Player of the Year in 08, they got to figure out where he fits best in this team going to 2011.
And he's had a lot of experience now in the big leagues. He's played in 220 games, coming up on 850 at-bats. Now, contrast that to Keila Kaihue. He's just getting started at this level.
Just getting started. A big September for him, Ryan. This is the best look they're going to have at him. So we know that he's got power, got a good on-base percentage in the minor leagues, but he's got to prove that in the next 30 days here in Kansas City.
And to this point, just a little over 104 Major League at-bats, and right now alternating between first base and DH and flip-flopping with Billy Butler. Aviles and Kaihue going up against Cliff Lee, one of the best left-handers in the American League, but he has lost his last three starts. We'll talk more about him when we come back. Royal is brought to you tonight by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. By Kellogg's, the best to you each morning. And by the Missouri Lottery. Sure looked like a great deal for the Texas Rangers when they acquired Cliff Lee in a trade, but so far, Frank, he's just 2-5 for them.
Well, that's true, Ryan, but one thing Cliff Lee can do, he can locate his fastball. He has an excellent curveball. He's always capable of throwing that great game.
Here's the Rangers lineup tonight, and even though they won last night, they only scored 3 runs in that tough middle of their batting order. Michael Young, Josh Hamilton, Vladimir Guerrero, and Nelson Cruz. They combined to score just 1 run and drive in 1 run. They'll be facing Sean O'Sullivan tonight, and here's the Kia report.
Well, Sean is coming off his best start of the season, and I think right now when you look at what he's doing in his pitch counts, I think the key tonight, if he changes speeds and keep the ball down, he should get deep into this ball game.
The American League is trying to figure out what the Royals are doing to Josh Hamilton, who's hitting just .276 against KC and over .360 against the rest of the league. It's the Royals and the Rangers, and the first pitch is next. Coffin Stadium in high definition, brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. The Royals are on the field, and Joel Goldberg is right outside the Royals dugout.
Well, Ryan had a chance this afternoon, to talk to catcher Brian Payne about his pitcher tonight, Sean O'Sullivan, and he said he's really been impressed with him because he's only 22 years old, but he acts like he's actually 28 years old. He said his work ethic is incredible throughout the week. He's working with Bob McClure in his bullpen sessions, trying to make the adjustments. He said he's not afraid to ask questions. He's all business, but he's always picking the brain of Zach Greinke, of Jason Kendall, and he said also he's a great teammate. They've got incredible respect for his passion, and he has got great respect for the game and his teammates. And I can just vouch for the fact that at 22 years old, watching him in the dugout on the games he's not pitching, guys, always the first one up on the top step, always there to pat a guy on the back. This is someone that hasn't been here very long, and again, only just 22 years old, but a lot of maturity, guys.
Well, I agree with that. You know, every time Sean O'Sullivan pitches for the Royals, chances are, it isn't the case tonight, but chances are he's facing that team for the first time, as was the case on Wednesday when he allowed just 3 runs in 7 innings, ended up with a no decision. But when they start asking about Sean O'Sullivan, I feel like the first thing I need to say is, well, he's only 22 years old, because he doesn't carry himself like he's only 22 years old.
Well, I agree with that, Ryan. And you have a lot of guys who come in the big leagues at 20, 21, and don't have the maturity that he has at 22. And I think he just got to come from a big family, and come from a big family, you mature a lot faster anyway.
And the first pitch of the game is ball 1 to Elvis Andrus, who was 2 out of 5 last night, drove in a run, his 33rd of the year. Now the Rangers are familiar with Sean. As an Angel last year, he faced them twice as a starter, and he beat him both times. And then earlier this year, before being traded to the Royals, Sean faced the Rangers as a reliever and pitched 2 1/3 scoreless innings. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Andrus. Sean waiting on Andrus, who took a little walk in between pitches. Grounded foul outside of third base, still 1-2. Got up into the mid-90s earlier today. It's cooled down to 91, a chance for thunderstorms later tonight. We started right on time, and the time and temp is brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCA. Two balls and 2 strikes. In that start Wednesday at Detroit, Sean gave up all of his runs in the 2nd inning. But we agreed, Frank, that those were some pretty good pitches, just bad luck on his part. But he got through that inning, battled, at one point retired 11 in a row, and didn't give up a run in his final 5 innings.
Well, you don't see him get just knocked around a lot, and I think a lot of it is that changeup. And he does pitch to the corners, and when he keeps the ball down, he'll give us some cheap hits, but he doesn't really get hit hard.
That pitch was up. Blanco was shallow, and that's the first out. And the rest of the Royals defensively tonight in the outfield, it's Alex Gordon, Gregor Blanco, and Jay Miller. On the infield, Wilson Betemit, Yuniesky Betancourt, Mike Aviles, and Kila Kaihue, and Brian Pena behind the plate. And I believe this is the first night game this year that Brian Pena has started. All of his previous starts in place of Jason Kendall have come in the day game after the night game.
Well, I know Jason's been playing a lot, Ryan. I know that the games played is really something that adds to his resume down the road, adds to his legacy, actually. And I know in September now, the only reason not to see Brian playing.
Driven to deep left field off the bat of Michael Young, and he hits his 20th home run of the year. And like they did last night, the Rangers score first.
Now we take a look at this through Fox Tracks, and you see we talked about the ball being up. This ball is up and it's in off the plate. But you see how he clears his hips really quickly, and that brings his top ahead of that bat down through the zone, and he really hit this ball square on the nose. That's what good hitters can do. They see the ball moving in on them, they clear the hips, hands come through, and they don't jam themselves. They get to the best part of the bat on the ball.
So that's more good hitting than it is bad pitching.
Yes, yes.
I mean, if he takes a normal swing and breaks his bat and hits a weak ground ball to the left side, you say, boy, that's a good pitch. He got it off the plate, and he made the hitter go after it.
Yeah, that's Michael Young's just an outstanding hitter anyway, and has just been able to just years of at-bats and knowing how to hit, knowing how to get to those pitches. Good effort.
0-2 on Josh Hamilton, who had 2 hits, both singles. He is just worn out right-hand pitching, and you say he's only hitting .267 against lefties this year. That's not a bad number. That's about average. Out in a ground ball to Betancourt. Hamilton, by the way, has been bothered by a sore right knee. And in the first lineup last night, he was going to play in the field, but right before the game started, Ron Washington reworked his lineup to make Hamilton the DH. He will DH today. He will DH tomorrow with an off day coming up, and he's going to get one of those injections in his knee to put some cushion in between the bones. To the right side and past Mike Aviles. Vladimir Guerrero, who was hitless last night, has a 2-out single.
I've heard about those injections. I know people who've taken them. I think they take them like one shot every Monday for 3 Mondays, and they say they work, but I should try it, but I just don't have the nerve.
Well, it kind of takes the place of cartilage.
That's what it's supposed to do, yes.
A gel in there that takes away from the friction of bone on bone. Very late on a fastball, 0-1 to Nelson Cruz. Came back from the disabled list last night and doubled in his first at-bat, came around to score. And we showed you last night what Nelson Cruz does at Kauffman Stadium when he rejoins the Rangers. In 2007, he was called up from the minor leagues. Rangers happened to be here. He had 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. In 2008, he was called up to the Rangers. They were in Kansas City. And he had 3 hits in that game, including a 3-run home run. Popped up. Aviles backs onto the grass. And that's it for the Rangers in the first inning. Michael Young's home run gives Texas a 1-0 lead. Royals are coming up against Cliff Lee with this batting order, and a tough night for the Royals last night with no runs on 3 hits, and the left-hand bats, at least some of them, are back in there tonight. Wilson Betemit will be at third base. Keila Kaihue is at first. Ryan Pena will catch. Alex Gordon is in left field. And now the Kia report on Cliff Lee.
A 1-4, 6.20 ERA in the last 6 starts, Ryan. I think the surprising thing is the 19 runs allowed in the last 18 in the third innings. But I think the key to the Royals tonight is be patient, check out his command, and if he's first pitch strike, you might want to be aggressive.
Gregor Blanco was the only left-handed batter last night against C.J. Wilson. Big difference between Lee and Wilson, what they do against left-hand hitting. Wilson allowing a 127 opponent's batting average. But lefties have done better than the righties against Cliff Lee. They're hitting 288. So that's why Keila and Alex are back in there tonight. It's still 0-2 on Blanco. So Cliff Lee has lost his last 3 starts. And over that stretch, his ERA is over 9. The last time he lost 4 in a row was in 2007. Back to Lee. Over to first for the out. And now the Rangers defensively. And the same as last night, Nelson Cruz, David Murphy, and Vladimir Guerrero in the outfield with Josh Hamilton as the DH. Michael Young, Elvis Andrus, Andres Blanco, and Mitch Moreland on the infield. And the only change from last night, Matt Traynor, is behind the plate. Mike Aviles fouls the first pitch away. Well, you can go up there expecting strikes when you face Cliff Lee. And all 5 of his pitches tonight have been strikes. And looking at his numbers, there is one that stands out, and it's worth a second look, a third look, maybe even a fourth look. By getting Gregor Blanco, Cliff Lee has thrown exactly 180 innings this year. He has walked 12.
Wow. Well, that was the one thing that he was saying about his performance, Ryan. He basically didn't think he was throwing bad. It just at some point during the game, in the wrong situation, he makes a bad pitch. But he knows that he can't live in the middle of the plate. He's still got to work the corners with his fastball and set up his curveball.
Knocks Aviles down, sort of. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
This is like, let me protect my feet.
The guy's got to take care of his feet, right?
I would think so.
Up the middle, past Blanco and into center field.
You see Mike's lower half is really back on his heels, Ryan, and he just, for some reason, he keeps his hand out over the plate, and he's able to drive the ball back to the middle. But if he can keep his lower half, underneath him, he could probably drive the ball in the alley and get doubles instead of singles in that situation. That's just a move you don't normally see with a left-hander throwing to a right-hander.
A little bit outside to Billy Butler. Billy had one of the 3 hits last night and singled, leading off the 9th inning. Willie Bloomquist had the first hit, which could have gone either way and made the game pretty interesting when we got to the 8th, and that was the only hit that Wilson had allowed. That's driven over Murphy's head, and the Rangers are going to say that it bounced over for a double. The umpires are late to respond, but they agree. So Billy with the double. And that really helps out the Rangers, because if that ball stays in play, Mike Aviles probably scores from first base. But because of the rule, he has to go back to third.
Well, we talked about Cliff Lee standing in the middle with his fastball, Ryan. Here's one to Billy Butler. He drives it over Murphy's head in center field. It takes one hop and hits off that back wall and comes back in. So he actually did save a run with that double, ground rule double. Aviles gets to second base, checks in, he starts digging to third. Then he gets the sign that the ball bounced over. Ground rule. Oh, I don't know.
There were a few stops and starts on that journey from first to third.
I could see the stop at second base, but once he got to the third base, I don't think third base coach Rodriguez saw the ball hit that wall, so he wanted Mike to continue home, and Mike had already checked in.
So a chance to tie it up in the bottom of the first inning. That is outside. 2 balls and no strikes to Wilson Betemit, who was 0 for 3 with a walk last night and is batting .326. Two and one. So 326 altogether, but with runners in scoring position, that goes up to 381. And he has Aviles at third base and Butler at second. And Lee evens the count at 2-2. Just got a piece of it. So Cliff Lee is struggling at the moment, but he has not struggled in his career against the Royals. This will be the 23rd time he has faced the Royals. Royals missed him on their trips to Seattle this year. At Kauffman Stadium, he is 7-2. Overall, 12-5, and those 12 wins are the most for Cliff Lee against any team. Bedemeet works a full count. A couple of years ago when Cliff Lee won the Cy Young Award going 22-3 for the Rangers, he pitched his first Major League shutout here at Kauffman Stadium. And a pretty good battle here between Lee and Bedemeet.
Well, that's one pitch he probably would like to have back. He got it up in his zone, and that's where he likes the ball, and that's the one he drives into right center field.
Another foul ball. Bedemeet has fouled off 4 in this plate appearance, and that means Cliff Lee's next pitch will be his 20th. It's hard to wear him down. Cliff Lee, and this would remind you of the days of Dennis Leonard with the Royals, he averages 7 2/3 innings per start. I mean, you just don't see guys with numbers like that today this late in the season. And another foul ball. Listen to this, Frank. Cliff Lee, in his first 19 starts this year, threw less than 7 innings once. He threw 8 innings in 15 of his first 19 starts. But maybe is running out of gas at this point in the season. They have not skipped him yet to give him a little extra time off or given him the benefit of an off day. He's gone less than 7 in 3 of his last 4. I mean, those are numbers that I haven't heard in like 20 years.
I know he's a throwback for sure, but he's got great mechanics. I mean, he's got a nice, smooth delivery, and I did read where he will get skipped his next start after this one, and that will definitely help him down the road. And maybe as C.J. Wilson also have a skip day in there somewhere. But if you watch his mechanics, Ryan, he's just nice and smooth, not herky-jerky, just right over the top, and he can move the ball around. So, you know, go back to what you said. Maybe all those innings of late have had something to do with his command. You know, keeping the ball out of the middle of the plate in key situations. But here, Wilson Bedemeet's a big hitter right here with the left-hander up next.
And he goes down on strikes. So a long battle, 11 pitches. And Lee gets a big out with runners at second and third. And now there are 2 away. And the Rangers, with this lead, and they're certainly not printing their playoff tickets yet, but they have the benefit now of skipping C.J. Wilson and Cliff Lee and giving a little extra break with an 8.5 game lead over the A's in just a little more than a month to go.
Well, that's true, and you kind of wonder if the Rangers would think about maybe putting a right-handed pitcher in between the 2 left-handers, and that may give the hitters a different look before you go two left-handed hitters two left-handed pitchers back to back, and I think that always seems to make a difference when you can put someone in between, a right-hander in between those 2 lefties, because they're similar in some degree.
So 2 in scoring position for Keela. Didn't play last night. 1 ball, 1 strike. He has 1 at bat against Cliff Lee, and that was 2 years ago when he was called up in September. and singled. Keela with a very good road trip through Detroit and Cleveland. 6 hits, 4 walks, so on base quite a bit. 2 home runs, and he drove in 5. 2 balls and 1 strike. So it will be at least a 26 pitch inning for Lee in the bottom of the first. Rangers got a home run from Michael Young in the top of the first. Took a little bit off, and that's something that Cliff Lee does. You say, well, he throws a fastball and a curveball and a change, but that fastball might come in at 6 or 7 different speeds during the game.
Well, I think that's the one thing that makes Bruce Chen tough sometimes. He just subtracts and adds to his fastball, and that's what Cliff Lee does right here. The only thing he probably wants to do is maybe get the ball down a little bit and make it a little bit harder to hit.
Popped up. Andrews goes out. Murphy comes in and calls him off. So Lee bends, but he doesn't break in the bottom of the first. AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T. Rethink possible. And by Panera Bread. Explore a menu of hearty soups, salads, sandwiches, and breakfast items at Panera Bread. Some thunderheads around Kauffman Stadium. And a chance for some of those thunderstorms to cross the ballpark later tonight. Right now, no sign of the grounds crew, no sign of uncovering the tarp. As we go through our rain checklist, that's always a good sign. David Murphy was 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts last night, but he's done very well against Sean O'Sullivan. 5 at-bats. 2 hits, and both of those hits are home runs. A home run got Sean in the bottom of the first tonight. Michael Young driving one to left field for his 20th of the year. Two and two. This has been a one-sided season series so far. The Rangers are 6-1 against the Royals, and scoring first and scoring early is nothing new for them. That's what they've been doing to the Royals all year. In the first 3 innings, if you break the game down into thirds, in the first 3 innings in the season series, the Rangers have outscored the Royals, including tonight, 22-7. Had him reaching at a changeup, good pitch, and it's Aviles to bring it down for the out. Tonight's number for our Take the Field sweepstakes is 19. And if you'd like to win a pair of replica Royals jerseys, go to foxsportskansascity.com during tonight's game and enter the sweepstakes, including number 19. There's a jersey winner every game. Frank White.
Brian Anderson. Old-time guy for us, Joe Zeb, wore 19.
Okay.
Frank White wore 19.
Ah.
Our first year.
Why didn't you stay with 19?
Because Frank Robinson was my favorite player, and I wanted number 20. And it was taken the first year I came up. The dad and son duo, Bannisters.
Okay. Wow, this is impressive.
Pretty smart tonight.
Yeah. Tonight. For those of you that have been following us all year, Frank, for whatever reason, is incredibly intelligent on Tuesdays. Don't know why. Grounded up the middle, and that's a base hit for Matt Trainer. So 1 on, 1 out in the second inning. How about Jeff Conine?
A lot of number 19s. Present team. Don't know if we have one.
Well, you already named him, didn't you?
Did I? Oh, Brian. Oh,
yeah.
Well, he's not here. When they're not with the team, I tend to forget sometimes.
But the guy, he doesn't lose his number just because he's not with the team, does he?
I just don't think about it. Some guys go to the minor leagues and they can have a number, and they come back, they get a different number. I've named him in the duo.
Speaking of 19, Mitch Moreland is just 2 for his last 19 and batting .257. That changeup stayed up, and he pulls it foul. No balls, 2 strikes. Talked about it last night. 2 positions where the Rangers have not gotten the production they were hoping for is catcher and first base. In the first series between the Royals and the Rangers, Chris Davis was at first. Hasn't quite come around yet as a hitter, but he's an outstanding defensive first baseman. And then in the second series, it was Justin Smoke, who went to Seattle in the deal that brought Cliff Lee to Texas. And now the homegrown Mitch Moreland, who was drafted by the Rangers out of Mississippi State.
They do like him a lot. They like the fact that he's got a short swing, he's compact, and they really expect down the road that he's going to really supply a little more power. And playing in Arlington Stadium, that's something that's got to come. If you get the ball in the air there, you're going to do well, and especially right center field. But they just think his back control and his short swing really plays well.
Just barely got a piece of it. Not close to being a strike. Just kind of picked that one off the ground. And it's still 0-2.
Yeah, this is a great changeup right here. Straight down in the ground, away. And that's all arm, just about reaching about as far as you can reach, just hoping you can foul that pitch off.
Matt Trainer normally isn't a threat to go. A career backup catcher. He has attempted 3 stolen bases this year, and he was thrown out in 2 of those 3 attempts. Not running, and Moreland pops it up, but that's out of play. Well, Texas is more known for their pitching these days, and they have really improved in that department, but they can still hit. Maybe they don't put up the home run numbers like they used to, but they are tied for second in the league with the Royals in batting average, 5th in the league in runs scored, 5th in the league in home runs, 5th in the league in stolen bases. So they have a very balanced offense. And as we pointed out last night, that people who have been following the Rangers ever since they moved from Washington to Texas will say that this is the best balance of pitching, defense, and offense the Rangers have ever had.
It's a lot better than it has been in the past, and they've always had offense. And I think the defense is a lot better, and I think that they just bought into the base running aspect of the game a lot better too. And just adding Andres up at the top gives them a little bit of speed.
Blocked by Pena, but it rolls away from him, and Trainer moves up on a wild pitch.
This is a slider right there. He just got over the top of and broke it off real hard, just right down in front of the plate. And Brian Pena had a hard time keeping that ball in front of him. But they did have him set up. They had Moreland set up. They got the fastball up and in that he fouled off. And then they had him set up away, but O'Sullivan got it way off the plate. And so he just got to start executing those pitches just a little bit better.
Hit hard but foul. And we're stuck on 2 balls, 2 strikes.
See, that's a changeup right there, and it's all about location. That chin. I just like to see O'Sullivan try to finish guys off with fastballs a little bit more. He goes to 2 strikes, and then they tend to start looking for that changeup. That changeup there was getting pretty good, like he was looking for it. So if he's going to make it run down and away like the previous pitch where he had to reach for it, then it's a little different.
Here's a fastball. Well, right before the Royals traded for Sean O'Sullivan, remember he beat the Yankees in his final start with the Angels. And then his first start with the Royals was against the Yankees. And then a few weeks after that, he faced the Yankees here at Kauffman Stadium, and we really felt like they were looking for that changeup. And they had that 1 inning where they hit 3 home runs. Mitch Moreland is going to pop out. I think that is a swing worthy of the list. 2 down in the 2nd inning. Frank, your thoughts?
That's also a good fastball following the changeup. And this is when you want to get inside. He's probably sitting there looking for something off speed, and he boards his fastball in on his hands. It's a good sequence of pitches right there. He tried to, yeah, okay. We'll put it on.
Put it on. So Trainer at second, and now Andres Blanco, who was the standout of all the Rangers offensively last night with 3 hits, 2 extra base hits, a double and a triple, and he just missed a home run. Grounds out to Aviles, and that's the inning. in the first inning. And here's tonight's You Call It, presented by Sprint, as we got a look at Ron Washington in the Rangers dugout, and we talked about his chances of winning the American League Manager of the Year award. Well, who gets your vote? Text 432-432, enter keyword Royals, followed by a space. A for Ron Gardenhire, B for Ozzie Guillen, C for Joe Madden, or D for Ron Washington.
It's a nice list right there, Ryan. You can make a case for any of them. Gardenhire trying to get it done without Marneau in his lineup. And Ozzie Guillen trying to piece it together. That came back from 9.5 back.
If he can get Manny Ramirez to cut his hair, I'll give him the award.
Well, from what I hear, they do have some sort of a grooming code. So whether or not they live up to it, who knows?
Brian Pena grounds out to Michael Young, one away in the second inning. Joe Madden with the Rays team competing with the Yankees and past the Red Sox. And then Ron Washington. And I would agree with the fans at the moment. No love for Ozzie. And I joke about the Manny Ramirez, but remember, the White Sox look like they were done. And talk about them trading off some pieces. And then they had that, 25-5 run before the All-Star break.
Yeah, they lost Peavy, one of their best pitchers, and got back in the race. I think they're about 4.5 back now. They're still there. The Rangers got the biggest margin in their division, and a team like the Angels that was everybody thought at the beginning of the season would compete. They thought the Mariners would be very competitive, and they thought the A's would be the team pulling up the rear, but the A's with their pitching have made it very interesting all the way through.
If you're making a case against Ron Washington and the Rangers, you could say, well, they're in a relatively easy division. The second place team is only 500. But if you're going to make a case for Ron Washington, well, you could go on and on. You can begin with what we talked about last night, the two starters that they were going to rely on the most this year. Scott Feldman and Rich Harden haven't given them much in the starting rotation. Gordon is down on strikes. Cliff Lee has his second, and there's two down in the bottom of the second.
We'll take a look. Chevy's going to bring us this look through Fox Tracks, Ryan, at Alex Gordon. And this pitch right here, after Cliff Lee goes inside off the plate, he goes back on the outside corner for the strikeout. Good sequence of pitches.
Another thing to add about Ron Washington is maybe just look at what he's done since taking over as manager and getting the Rangers to think outside of their box of, let's just go up there and try and slug people to death. He talked about improving on defense. He talked about a more balanced offense. Didn't happen overnight, but that's the way the Rangers are playing now. Nolan Ryan then took over as president, said we're going to pitch better, and they have.
Well, with Feldman on the DL and Rich Harden going to the bullpen, that says a lot for the adjustments that they've had to make over there. And Ron is definitely a fundamental guy, and he's big on defense and pitching, and that's what they've been able to put together. But I think the offense itself has bought into everything that he's been trying to sell them for the last couple of years. And I think last year they kind of finally figured it out and then brought it right into spring training this year.
Yuniesky Betancourt all of a sudden is 0 for his last 10. Plays off the curveball, 2 balls, 2 strikes. And he has been moving all over the batting order. Not really a middle of the order type of a hitter, but Royals have a need there. So he batted 5th last night, but back down to number 8 tonight.
A lot of times when you move a guy into the meat of the order like they did last night, sometimes you see their worst swings. And I think Yuniesky threw some of the worst swings last night than he had in about a week. And I think sometimes you get down there and you try to do way too much.
Into the corner, and that is a home run. That ball straightened up and somehow got inside the pole and over the fence. And Unievsky Betancourt ties the game at 1 in the second inning. And watch Uni when he comes out of the box. He thought this was a foul ball.
It's on the outer half of the plate, and he definitely thought it was going to go foul, but for some reason it started to come back, and he went right inside the foul pole down the right field line. He kind of stared at it, and he said, well, I better run. And it goes right inside the foul pole. I think he's back at home. I think it's more comfortable where he's hitting right now. See, he's even talking about it now. The ball went foul and came back.
Usually that happens in the left field corner at Kauffman Stadium, not in the right field corner.
It's one of the few nights that when the weather's warm that the wind's blowing from right to left. Normally it's blowing left to right. But look at there, just good wind out there.
Those 3 flags might be the explanation. 1 and 2 on Jay Miller. Two and 2. Jay Miller had one of the 3 hits for the Royals last night, and his hit was a clean hit in the 8th inning against C.J. Wilson. Prior to that, it was a disputed hit earlier in the game from Willie Bloomquist, which had all of us wondering what might have been, because that ended up being the only hit that Wilson allowed going into the 8th, and it wasn't a clean hit. It could have gone either way, but Miller with a base hit in the 8th, Billy Butler in the 9th, Wilson won. Kyle Davies pitched very well, but was a tough luck loser. Miller strikes out, but the Royals strike. Unievsky Betancourt ends an 0 for 10. Homers just inside the foul pole to tie the game. Rangers and Unievsky Betancourt for the Royals. And so Sean O'Sullivan back to work. And the second time through the order, Elvis Andrus opened the game with a fly ball to center field. And now he drills a base hit into center field. So the Rangers come right back with the leadoff man on. Well, you might remember last month our broadcast experience that we auction during the broadcast. Well, here's our second group, and Kurt Woods here with his sons, Cameron and Colin. Everyone wave. Colin's fiance Jamie is the one on the headset, so she's going to take over with the play-by-play here in the third inning. No? Okay. And then
At some point, you guys are going to make your way out to the camera in left field, right? I was told that was the selling point. That was the tipping point to raise your bid and take over for Morgan Kramer, who's happy to turn the camera over. And we'll see what kind of camera skills you have. Who's first?
Nobody wants to talk, huh?
Well, they've had a tour of the field, the dugout, the clubhouse, the press box. Just spent an inning next door on the Royals Radio Network. They'll spend an inning with us. They're going to head out to the production truck and see the broadcast from behind the scenes. And as we always say, Frank, that's where the real action is.
I think so. That's where we get all the information. You'll hear Kevin talking in the ear in a second.
They're going to go home tonight and go, Ryan and Frank, they don't know that much stuff. Everyone's just telling them what to say. One and one on Michael Young, who homered in the first inning.
Well, take a look at Fox Tracks here. Chevrolet brings us Fox Tracks fastball down on the outside corner. And for Sean O'Sullivan, Ryan, that's where he needs to live. I mean, if he lives down there, he's going to be in trouble. If he gets the ball up, then he's going to be in trouble.
And he needs to keep a close eye on Elvis Andrus, who has 27 stolen bases this year.
And we saw them early in the year. They just got on the base and just ran. Now they seem to be running with a little more caution. He's been thrown out 14 times, and I think that might be the reason why.
And Michael Young comes up with his second hit. Andrus will hold at second base. So right after the Royals tie the game, the Rangers have 2 on with nobody out. And that means 2 on for Josh Hamilton as we take a look at tonight's league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. And all Josh Hamilton has done this year is lead the league in hitting, second in slugging percentage, third in on-base percentage, fourth in home runs, fifth in RBIs. Outside of that, he's had an awful season. We mentioned it at the top of the broadcast. Hamilton has done most of that against everyone except for the Royals. Hitting right around 270 against KC this year and over 360 against everyone else. And remember, last year, Hamilton didn't have a single hit against the Royals. 2 balls and no strikes.
I think he's still a little confused how we're going to pitch him, how the Royals are going to pitch him, Ryan. He's kind of took a bad swing at a fastball his last time up, probably sitting on something off speed because we gave him such a heavy dose of it last year and early this year. I think he kind of looks for it at times. So the fastball might be the weapon of choice against Josh Hamilton tonight.
Didn't get the call. 3 balls and no strikes. Well, you figure don't give in to Hamilton here. However, the hitter waiting on deck has more RBIs this season than Hamilton does, Vladimir Guerrero.
Somewhat a little bit more impatient of a hitter, but when he gets it, it's gone. So you got to make good pitches as they did last night, and they can get away with it.
Swinging on 3-0, and the Royals are going to get an out. So that's a not best case scenario, but more than the Royals could hope for. Hamilton is out and doesn't drive in a run.
I mean, look at his swing, Ryan. It's really not an aggressive swing. The ball's really running away from him on the outer half of the plate, and he went around it, and that forced him to hit that little easy ground ball to first base.
So second and third for Vladimir Guerrero, who singled to right in the first inning. He was hitless last night. Ryan Pena sets up outside, and they get a ground ball to short. Betancourt took a peek at home plate, but he takes the sure out. So Guerrero drives in his 97th, and the Rangers lead 2-1.
Well, Vladimir goes up there looking to swing the bat, and that ground ball by Hamilton did put the guys in scoring position. But you see Duni's head right here. He's taking a look at third base to see if he's got a shot at Elvis Andrews coming down the line. Then he continues on to first base with the play.
Well, I don't know how Sean O'Sullivan feels about this, but if he can get Nelson Cruz here and only allow 1 run in this situation, that would be a success.
I agree. Going through that middle of that order like that and getting those 2 weak ground balls by 2 of their top hitters. But this guy here, you just can't make a mistake with Nelson Cruz.
Got the call over the outside corner, 1-1. Nelson Cruz playing with the Rangers. That's his 4th organization. He played 1 year in Milwaukee for Ned Yost. And maybe you think about Nelson Cruz with the Rangers because that's where he's put it all together, but he's originally from the Mets organization, then on to the A's, then on to the Brewers. Everyone wanted to give him a look, hoping he'd put it together, and he's done it with Texas. That's the 2nd time tonight. He has been very late on a Sean O'Sullivan fastball.
I think he's late because he's looking for that changeup. I think he's got the changeup on the mind. They figured changeup's his best pitch. And you take a look at this fastball here, Ryan. I mean, he usually wouldn't miss this pitch, but that changeup is always in the back of their mind, and especially now when he goes to 2 strikes.
Up the right field line and foul. Tomorrow's the final game of this series, and you can purchase all-you-can-eat seats. It's a 7-10 game, and all-you-can-eat seats are located in the Loge level, which includes all the hot dogs, nachos, peanuts, pretzels, and Pepsi products you can handle for one low price. Royals.com or 1-800-6-ROYALS to get those tickets. And now 3 balls and 2 strikes on Nelson Cruz. Andrus and Young open the inning with singles. Hamilton and Guerrero have grounded out. Guerrero's ground ball getting Andrus to the plate. And Cruz swung at ball 4 and fouls it away. And now Brian Pena immediately runs out to have a chat with O'Sullivan.
Well, you can see why he's late on these fastballs. I think it's mainly because he's still looking for that changeup. I mean, he's had 3 fastballs. 1 he swung through, and 2 he's been late and fouled off on the right side. So right now he's just trying to be cautious and protect the plate against the fastball and then look for the off speed.
Michael Young at third base with 2 down. And another foul ball. So the Rangers have 2 runs, but they are really making Sean O'Sullivan work. That's 8 pitches in this plate appearance. He went over 20 pitches in the 2nd inning and now moving up on 60 overall, and this is just the 3rd inning. 1 hop to Betancourt. So Cruz is out. The Rangers get 1 run, but all in all, it could have been a lot worse. This is Jim Moran, a volunteer coach from Blue Springs and a coach of American Legion baseball for more than 30 years, touching the lives of over 500 young men. And the Blue Springs resident also established the original Wood Bat Invitational 23 years ago, which recently welcomed 40 teams from 8 states. And he enjoys the game tonight from the Buck O'Neill Legacy seat. So the Rangers retake the lead, and back come the Royals. Gregor Blanco is 1 for 2 with a leadoff base hit against Cliff Lee, and Gregor's first hit of the series.
Well, a real good piece of hitting by Gregor here, Ryan. He doesn't try to pull his pitch. He's going away from him. He stays right down on it. Head down, hands through, line drive to left field. Nice swing. Right down through the ball.
And Mike Aviles trying to bunt for a base hit. Interesting. It looked like Moreland kind of laid back as opposed to charging that ball hard, and he would have had an easy out.
What do you think? Once the batter squares, he's got to come charging down the line. But he came off the base like he was expecting Mike to swing away.
But he ran running into foul territory to wait for that ball instead of going right at it in fair territory. I don't know if he would have had a play or not. Mike singled to center field his first time up. And then Billy Butler hit a ground rule double to put runners at second and third and 1 out, but Cliff Lee was able to get out of it. And the ground rule double really hurt the Royals. If that ball stays in and doesn't bounce over, Aviles probably scores from first base.
Now, one of the good things by batting behind a fast runner at first base is that you're going to get fastballs. And if you're going to get fastballs, then you got to be ready to turn on the fastball and not necessarily try to hit it for a single to right field. And that's one of the advantages of having a guy bat second who can drive in, maybe hit doubles. So if you want a situational kind of guy, then that's when you use a Kendall in the number 2 spot.
Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. And staying alive at 1 ball, 2 strikes. So Mike Aviles up to the number 2 position, and he has batted there in those games that Jason Kendall has been out of the lineup.
But it's a great position to bat if you got a fast guy that can steal bases, because you will see a couple of fastballs.
Blanco runs lead, tried to force an out at second base, and he throws it into center field. But he had Blanco sliding, and he had Murphy charging hard from center field, so no further advance.
Well, if he had to do it all over again, Ryan, he would go ahead and take the out at first base. If you're going to make that throw down to second base, you got to throw to the base and not to the player coming over to receive the throw. And you see where Cliff Lee made a good stop here. Then he was in good position to throw, but he didn't aim for the base. He aimed for the shortstop Andres instead.
So it's a fielder's choice, error 1, and 2 on, nobody out to Billy Butler. Now Cliff Lee might be talking to Matt Trainer about what they want to do with Billy this time around. Billy hit a ground rule double to center field back in the first inning.
And this is what Billy looks for. Fastballs out over the plate. He doesn't try to pull the ball, and he just strengthens right center field. And that was a ground rule double that cost him an RBI, and the Royals a run scored in the first inning. If Cliff Lee had to do all over again, Ryan, he might have just took his time and made sure he just got 1 out at second base rather than thinking about the double play.
Especially this early in the game. One and 1 on Billy. Billy had been bothered by that sore right hand he was still getting his hits, but it had been a while since he had an extra base hit. And a big swing there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Even though Billy hits for power, and he hit 51 doubles last year, you don't see him take many swings like that one where he almost came out of his shoes.
Well, a lot of times, guys, they read where you say you're not supplying enough power, not generating any bat speed, and all of a sudden you try to do too much, and that's when you see him come out of his, like the first time up, nice easy swing, double. Now he tries to swing a little bit harder. Now it takes you off the ball, and you hit that pitch you should drive, you foul it off.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, Cliff Lee ahead 2-1, but he's been in trouble in every inning. Got around second and third and 1 out in the first, gave up a home run in the second, and now 2 on, nobody out in the third. And Billy slams it into center field. That's a base hit. Here comes Blanco around third, and the Royals have tied it in the bottom of the third.
See this curveball right here, this curveball just stays right up out over the plate, and that's just where Billy Butler likes the ball. I'm surprised they don't crowd him a little bit more, Ryan, and try to force him and try to pull the ball. But as long as they pitch away from him with breaking balls and fastballs, that's what they can get. And you see Blanco comes in to score easily on that single in center field.
Mike Maddox is out for a chat, and let's go down to Joel.
Well, Ryan, it was interesting talking to Billy Butler before the game about facing back-to-back lefties and 2 very good back-to-back lefties. Only the 6th time this year the Royals have faced back-to-back left-handed starters, but C.J. Wilson and then Cliff Lee. And Billy was saying that they're both obviously very, very good, but as far as a comfort level for him, more comfortable, he thought, facing Cliff Lee, just in the sense that he's seen him so many times over the years as a starter. It's only the first time that they've seen C.J. Wilson this year, at least twice, as a starter. Guys?
Well, Billy goes from a 260 hitter against Cliff Lee to a 320 hitter with 2 hits and an RBI tonight. And the Royals aren't done yet. Wilson Betemit fouls the first pitch away, and Wilson is hoping to redeem himself in this inning. In the first, with runners at second and third and 1 out, a well-placed ground ball or a fly ball scores 1, a base hit scores 2, but after a long battle and fouling off 6 pitches against Cliff Lee, he struck out, Keela flied out, and the Royals failed to score. Had a good rip at that pitch, and it's 0-2.
That's swinging maybe a little bit harder than he normally does. That's a pitch right there that he usually hits. He usually hits this ball to right center field. So I think maybe in these situations right now, he's trying to just go after Cliff Lee a little bit too hard and just stay back and trust his hands to work for him. And remember the line drive, high fastball to hit in the right center field in Cleveland. That's his swing. When they try to swing too hard, that's when the foul balls come around.
Royals have 2 hits, and Cliff Lee has helped their cause in this inning with a throwing error. Blanco has scored. Aviles is at second base. Butler is at first. Tried with a backdoor cut fastball, and it's 2-2. Cliff Lee thought he caught Mike Aviles looking away, as he is right now. Mike was checking the outfield, and he didn't have his foot on the bag.
Well, normally you don't turn your whole back to the infield and check the outfield, and he just turned around at the right time.
Lee gets another chance to throw to second, but who's covering? They get an out, but apparently Andrus and Blanco either didn't decide who was going to cover on a ground ball back to the mound, or they both thought it was going to get past Cliff Lee.
Well, that ball over the middle is going to bring both guys, but if they decided ahead of time that the shortstop's going to cover, then that's the guy that's got to go first, and the other guy backs up. And if Blanco had the coverage, then he's got to go first, and Andres has got to go in the backup position. So obviously a miscommunication on this play.
And because of that, the Rangers get 1 out, not 2. And their runners at first and third with 1 out. And another chance for Keela to drive in a run. He left 2 on base with a fly out in the first inning.
No, Cliff Lee really is not giving himself a chance to make a good throw back to second base. I mean, he gets his ball and he just stands flat-footed and lets it go. Normally, it's taught to receive it, take a little crow hop to gather yourself in, make a good throw. But he gets in a big hurry, and by him getting in a big hurry, he's throwing the ball down in the ground.
And again, no easy innings for him so far tonight. Two balls and 1 strike.
We'll take a look at him here. Now he's got the ball here, so rather than taking a crow hop, see how wide open he is, almost like he wanted to throw the ball to first base, and then he drops his arm down and throws to second base, and the ball just going to go. Look how far his right foot is toward first base, and there, all he's got is arm right there to throw with. His body doesn't help him at all.
Now in basketball that works, right? Convince the defense you're going one way and pass the other way.
as long as your pass is not that long. The misdirection thing.
Chop to second, out at second, and no double play, and the Royals take the lead.
But it's the high hopper here, so as a second baseman, what you got to try to do when you know you got to make a double play, you want to come in and trap that ball short and try to get that double play. Once you back up on it and make that hop that long, then it's going to be tough to turn a double play in that situation. So Andres really should have charged that ball versus back up and take it on that real long hop.
Back with a strike to Brian Pena.
So if he's playing double play depth, now take a look where he's at. See how long this ball went out there? Ball went almost a double play depth. He started backing up right away. So if he comes in and gets that ball, now he's got a chance to turn that double play.
No time to waste on a play like that.
Well, especially when you have a fast runner. You know, you want to make sure you get it. Once you get the ball to second base, the play's made.
That's lined into right field on an 0-2 pitch. Brian Pena is 1 out of 2. And the Royals are still going in the third inning.
This is just protecting the plate right here, Ryan. Fastball up and away. Brian Pena does a good job. This is what Brian Pena did a lot last year. Anything up over the zone, right-handed, he was going to right field. Left-handed, he was going to left field. And Keela, look out. Hate to lose a hit there.
27 pitches in the inning for Cliff Lee. And up over 70 now in less than 3 innings. And innings have been a problem for him in his last 3 starts. Struck out Alex looking back in the second inning. And now Lee gets that call. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Royals had some sort of a beard shaving ceremony before the game today. Kaneko Teixeira, no beard today. Alex Gordon, no beard today. Might have something to do with the heat, I'm not sure. But for a while there, you had Alex, you had Teixeira, you had David DeJesus, Kyle Davies, Blake Wood,
Soria,
Joaquin Soria. Teixeira looks like he's about 5 years younger today. Blanco dives and can't get it. Here comes Keela around third base. And Guerrero's throw goes to third. The Royals have come up with 3 in the third inning and have a 2-run lead.
really not trying to do too much with Cliff Lee, Ryan. They're just staying right in the middle of the field, and Alex fastball away, hits the ball right up the middle. Blanco made a good effort for it, but that was by him before he even dove for it. So a good hard ground ball up the middle, the RBI for Keeler. RBI for Alex as Keeler crosses home plate.
And the Rangers are working in the bullpen already. Matt Harrison just starting to throw. So the Rangers invited the Royals to a big inning, and they accepted. Cliff Lee has an error. He has made a poor throw to second base on what could have been a double play. Mitch Moreland, earlier in this inning, remember on the bunt attempt by Mike Aviles, he allowed a ground ball to go foul. That could have been an out. As you pointed out, too, that Andres Blanco could have attacked the ground ball a little bit more aggressively. No balls, 2 strikes. Uni homered back in the second.
A fastball away, Ryan. The one that he thought was going to be foul, and then it came back and just went right inside the foul pole, right in the first row at the 330 sign. He had a similar pitch ago and fouled it off.
Backs him off the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So Uni is long past his previous career high with home runs, which was 9. Now he has 14. Now trying to tie his career high with RBIs, and he needs 4 more. Lee gets him with a curveball, and a long inning comes to an end. The Royals score 3 to take a 2-run lead. For the first time tonight, as the Royals get 3 in the 3rd inning. They answer the Rangers in the inning and then some. It'll be David Murphy, Matt Trainer, and Mitch Moreland in the 4th inning. Murphy popped out to second base first time up, reaching for a changeup. 1 ball, 1 strike, as we take a look at tonight's Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison. And Sean O'Sullivan and Cliff Lee compare well, both at 95 so far. You can double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. 2 balls and 1 strike. All of the runs for the Royals, by the way, in the bottom of the 3rd were unearned because of the Cliff Lee error. Sean O'Sullivan gave up a home run to Michael Young in the first inning. Royals tied it in the second. And then Vladimir Guerrero drove in a run with a ground out in the third. Three balls, two strikes. Both teams really need to have their starting pitcher clean up their pitch count. Cliff Lee in much bigger trouble than Sean O'Sullivan. That's driven to center field. The wind is blowing out that way. Back goes Blanco. It is gone. And for David Murphy, that's his third career home run in 7 at-bats against Sean O'Sullivan. So back come the Rangers, and it's a one-run game.
It's definitely been a seesaw game, Ryan. Neither starting pitcher want to go out and take this game over. And O'Sullivan leaves this ball right in the heart of the plate on a 3-2 pitch. And David Murphy, really, I mean, this is outstanding, man. Just this kind of strength and straightaway center field in this ballpark. I mean, you don't think guys have that kind of power, and all of a sudden there it goes.
Murphy hit it hard, but Mother Nature may have lent a helping hand. That wind is blasting out in that direction, and now Matt Trainer hits it right on the button, but lines out to Betemit at third base. Big 12 football returns to Fox Sports Kansas City this week, and on Thursday, Iowa State opens the season against Northern Illinois. On Saturday, Mizzou takes on Illinois in the arch rivalry game in St. Louis. Live coverage from the Edward Jones Dome starts at 11 a.m. with the Boulevard Brewing Rivalries Live pregame show. Speaking of MU, Corby Jones, who is a Big 12 football analyst, he will join us in the booth during tomorrow's game. Jay Miller comes over from right field and handles the fly ball from Mitch Moreland, and he is 0 for 2. So in different ways, the wind has helped hitters go deep tonight. Yuniesky Betancourt's not necessarily helped by the wind as far as distance, but taking a foul ball and making it a fair ball inside the right field foul pole. And David Murphy may have hit a home run, wind or otherwise, but the wind took any doubt out of it. Andres Blanco grounded out to second base in the second inning.
Well, those flags are standing straight out almost all the way across, right to left at this point. So anything up in the air got a chance to travel. But Murphy's ball was kind of on the line. I mean, he hit that ball hard. So if I'm a hitter today, I'm trying to hit a fly ball.
Pena wanted high, not that high, and it's 1-2.
Well, when you stand up like that, you try to shoot for the top of the catcher's head. But O'Sullivan really wanted to get it up there. He didn't want to make a mistake. But I think when he wants it high, he's actually calling for it across the letters and try to get the hitter to chase. I'm not a total fan of standing up, and that's something that pitchers aren't used to seeing. You know, when they throw on the side, when they warm up before the game, in between innings, so they're not used to seeing him stand up like that. So that might throw them off a little bit too.
And one of the reasons why the catchers do that, they stand up, because if they were to put a target a little higher than normal and stay in their crouch, that's going to be right in front of their face, and they're not going to be able to see the pitch coming in.
But I don't think the umpire would appreciate it either.
Now Bryan gets way down there for a low target, and another line out to third. This one from Andres Blanco. The Rangers get one. all kids. The first 8,000 fans aged 14 and under will receive custom Royals silly bands on Sunday as the Royals take on the Cleveland Indians at 1:10. That's September the 19th, so the next homestand. This is the hottest item of the school year, so get your tickets today at Royals.com or 1-800-6-ROYALS. So this is the 8th half inning tonight, and we've only had 2 scoreless half innings. The Royals in the bottom of the first, and the Rangers in the top of the second. 0-2 on Jay Miller. Cliff Lee struck him out for the final out of the second inning, which ended up being Lee's easiest inning, even though he allowed a home run to Betancourt. Royals scored 3 runs in the third. All of them were unearned because of a Cliff Lee error. After Miller, it's Gregor Blanco and then Mike Aviles. Cliff Lee has already thrown 83 pitches. His average this year is 108, but that normally covers 7 2/3 innings. And he's at 84 right now in 3+ innings. And Matt Harrison, who was warming up last inning, is making sure he's ready to go. They've called on here in the fourth. Over the inside, Miller is down. And for Cliff Lee, that is strikeout number 5.
I think Sean O'Sullivan also, Ryan's going to have to watch his pitch count also. He's at 73. So that's pretty high, too, for this point in the game.
So even though the starters are still in there, at some point this game will be in the hands of the bullpen. Blanco bunts, and Trainer makes a nice running and sliding play.
Yeah, you really have to wonder the hand-eye coordination of a catcher when he sees this bunt. The tendency is to flinch a little bit. But as soon as that ball went off the bat, Matt Trainer was right after that ball. He knew exactly where it was, and he caught this ball easily. You know, normally when that ball goes up, you got to look around a little bit, but he knew coming off the bat which way that ball was. And as soon as the ball hit the bat, he was in the direction of the ball already.
Matt Trainer is originally from the Royals organization. All one to Mike Aviles. Royals took him in 1994 in the 4th round. And then in 1997, he was traded to the Marlins. Aviles into right field. Guerrero turns all the way around, and he makes the catch. So Lee, in trouble with his pitch count, needs only 8 in the 4th. fifth inning, but it's been somewhat of a wild game with both teams answering the other and scoring tonight. Do you think this will be a 4-3 final when it's all said and done?
I would doubt it, Ryan. I tell you, both starting pitchers are kind of struggling alike with their pitch counts and their ability to, just take over the game. Cliff Lee did put a 0 up in that inning, so we have to see what Sean O'Sullivan can do in this half of the inning.
He gets the top of the order, and the Rangers leadoff man Albus Andrus has been just that, leading off in all 3 plate appearances. Below the knees, 1 ball, 1 strike. In the first inning, Andrews flied out. In the third, he singled to center field and came around on a ground ball from Vladimir Guerrero. And that's a shot into right field. Jay Miller picks it off and holds Andrews to a single.
Now, Ryan, you talked about Andrus last night and his ability to hit with runners in scoring position, and he said last year he wasn't that good, but he said this year with all those hot hitters behind him, it's almost like the pitchers are forcing him to be the one to get the job done. They don't want to pitch those guys behind him, so he's getting much better pitches to hit.
Because after him, you've got Michael Young, who's homer tonight. He has 20. Then Josh Hamilton, 31 and 95 RBIs. After him, Vladimir Guerrero, 24 home runs, 97 RBIs. And then Nelson Cruz has 16 home runs and 64 RBIs. Yikes.
That's deep.
Michael Young was in a slump when the Rangers arrived in Kansas City, but was 1 for 4 with an RBI last night and now 2 for 2 with a solo home run tonight. Blocked by Pena, but Andrews will move up anyway. Second wild pitch thrown by O'Sullivan tonight.
Yeah, both will come on that hard curveball he's trying to throw. Normally it's a little bit softer, like more like 78, 79, but he's really trying to tighten it up. And by tightening it up, he's just burying it in the ground.
One and two on Michael Young. Not having a great Michael Young season, but for everyone else, he's having a good year. 287, 20 home runs, 75 RBIs. He has 30 doubles, and he's done that 8 straight years. Only Albert Pujols has a current streak that long. Where Michael Young has had his problems this year is on defense. He has 19 errors at third.
And that's uncharacteristic there. And that's a lot of errors for a third baseman for sure.
Told you last night that Michael Young at one point had 5 consecutive seasons with at least 200 hits, putting him in very elite company. If you consider Ichiro Suzuki, Wade Boggs, and Willie Keeler elite company, they're the only ones other than Michael Young who have a streak that long.
Going into this game tonight, he was sitting on 151 hits. He's got 2 tonight, so he's still gonna be. It's gonna be close.
Andrews at second base with nobody out. And there's a ground ball to the right side. So he's getting his hits. That was a team at bat and a productive out to get Andrews over to third, 1 away. Let's update You Call It, presented by Sprint. We asked you who you think should be the American League Manager of the Year 49% say Ron Washington. Now 48%, followed by Joe Madden, and then Ron Gardenhire and Ozzie Guillen. You know, another part of that story that would be so good for Ron Washington and the Rangers. He had some issues off the field that became public in spring training. He had failed a drug test last year, but went to the Rangers, explained why. And there are a lot of players in Major League Baseball that have had good careers that can thank Ron Washington for sticking up for them, giving them a second chance. And if Ron Washington didn't get a second chance, if he doesn't deserve a second chance, nobody in this game deserves a second chance.
Well, baseball for the longest has said if you come forward and admit you have a problem and you go through all the steps to get that problem corrected, then there's no penalty. You just go back and play. And I think that what gets guys in trouble, Ryan, and it's when they don't tell the truth about it.
Past Keela and out into right field. Josh Hamilton drives in Elvis Andrus, and we are tied at 4. It is a base hit, and for Hamilton, 96 RBIs.
For a guy as hot as Hamilton, you're not going to hold him down too long. And Fox Track, sponsored by Taco Bell, shows us where this pitch was, and it's just where most every hitter in baseball, in the history of baseball, would like a pitch, right down the middle of the plate, thigh high. And you see Andres just cruising in from third base.
Want to know on Vladimir Guerrero, who is 1 for 2 with an RBI groundout, giving him 97 RBIs overall and 13 against the Royals this year. Blasted to deep left field. This ball is going to get wet. Against the Royals this season, Vladimir Guerrero has 6 home runs and 15 RBIs. It wasn't a matter of whether that ball was going to get wet or not. It was how wet it was going to get. First tier or second tier.
Well, I really thought this ball with that wind would even get up in the dry duck seats for the first time this year. But you called it right. They did land in the water. And, I mean, this is one of those balls that you cannot throw him right there in the middle of the plate, more toward the inner half, and this ball is really crushed. I thought we were going to see our first dry duck home run this year. I mean, with that wind going behind that ball, I thought it was going to be up there for sure.
And Nelson Cruz gets underneath it. And because of his power, Alex Gordon was deep. So he has to run way in to make the play. 2 down. And Nelson Cruz is 0 for 3.
You can see this, Ryan. I mean, this ball is right down the middle of the plate. He got full extension. He knew right away. He's hit so many of them. He knows when he gets one. And, I mean, he stayed on that backside and got full extension through this ball.
That's amazing. He hits the ball as far as he does because he takes such an easy swing at the plate. Does anybody swing harder than he does?
No.
He's the one guy that defies the baseball rule. Don't try and hit it far because he can. and 2 on a long home run from Vladimir Guerrero. Here's tonight's AT&T trivia question. Who are the 4 pitchers to be traded away after winning the Cy Young Award the previous season? I'll give you one hint, Frank.
I know 2, I think. I think I heard you say it over the weekend.
One of them is pitching right now for the Texas Rangers.
I knew that one.
Okay, you knew that one.
I'll give you a hint. One of them is pitching for the New York Yankees.
Ooh. We talked about that in Cleveland. And this was one of my few contributions to the trivia question every year. There are 4 in modern Major League history. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Billy Butler. And 2 of the 4 happened in back-to-back years involving the Indians. When C.C. Sabathia won it and was traded away. The next year, Cliff Lee won it for the Indians and was traded away the following year. And only twice before that. Sabathia going from the Indians to the Phillies and became just the 6th pitcher in Major League history to win at least 7 games with 2 teams in 2 leagues in the same year. And when he went to the Phillies, I mean, he kicked it into another gear, helping them get to the World Series, and then they fell to the Yankees. Billy has 2 hits, hits that ball hard, but right to Blanco, and there's 1 away in the 5th inning. All right. So Colin is going to get the first shot at the camera out in left field. Here's his first replay. Now, that takes some discipline, Frank, because it would be very easy for Colin. Correct me if I'm wrong, producer Kevin Shank. It'd be very easy for him to follow the ball, but that's not his job with that camera, right? His job is to stay with the hitter, and that's exactly what he did. Wilson Betemit gets one past Andres Blanco on the right side, and that's his first hit. He's 1 for 3.
Taco Bell shows us what his pitch is, Ryan, and Wilson Betemit has been looking for this hit all night right here. Fastball down on the outer half. Good piece of hitting. Gets it solid on this ball. Blanco goes over, tries to get in front of it, gets by him.
All right, now Cameron has the camera, and a guy named Cameron should be able to work a camera.
You would think so.
I mean,
he can smile if he wants to. I mean, Cameron, you can smile if you want to.
He's got his game face on. There we go. Hey, Cameron, just so you know, that camera is about $250,000.
Made him a little uneasy right there. In case a home run comes out there, Cameron, make sure you move the camera lens away from the ball.
Yeah, either that or you got to go Secret Service and jump in front of the president.
We're trying to get Cameron to laugh and have a good time. He's serious about that job.
1-2 on Keela. He drove in a run and later scored in the 3rd inning. This is Cameron right now shooting from left field. A tight shot on Keila Kaihue. You know, Frank, it's interesting when we've had our broadcast experience winners. You know, Morgan Kramer is one of our respected cameramen and has been for a long time, but these people, you know, they just fall out of bed, they drive to the ballpark, and all of a sudden they pick up right away what Morgan has been training to do for years.
Well, I'm not going to tell Morgan that. I'm not going to tell him his job is easy. It's just good he can't hear us right now. Looks like something out of Star Wars, you know.
Yeah. He's got a very steady hand. Kila's reaching, and up the right field line. The wind straightens it out. Wow. I'm telling you, and you have to believe me because of our vantage point, when that ball crossed first base and started to go up the right field line, Frank, it was right on the line. I mean, it looked like it was going to have to be a long run for Guerrero to get to the line. He ends up catching it about 10 yards in fair territory.
Well, you can see him having to stop his speed from going toward the line. That he saw the ball coming back.
All right, there's Kurt, Cameron and Colin's father.
Hello, Kurt. Wait, Kurt.
But don't drop the camera. Okay. 1-0 on Brian Pena. First it was son Colin, then son Cameron, and now Kurt, who treated his family to the broadcast experience. They've been up to the TV booth, they've been up to the radio booth, they've been in the production truck. And we hear that this was the tipping point when we were selling the broadcast experience, that when they realized that they could control one of the cameras during the game, that's when they committed to the winning bid. Lined over Blanco and into center field. So a two-hit game for Brian Pena. And the Royals have the tying run at first base with 2 outs.
This is the Brian Pena that we saw last year, and Taco Bell showed us this ball is right down the middle of the plate, up, and he does a good job just staying with it and hitting a line drive to right center field, just out of the reach of Andres Blanco at second base.
Well, this has not been the bounce-back start that Cliff Lee was hoping for. He has the lead into the 5th inning, but he's given up 9 hits. He's thrown over 100 pitches. And as Frank was pointing out earlier in the game, the Rangers are looking forward to taking advantage of an off day to give him an extra day's work. But keep in mind, he needs to get another out to qualify for the win. And maybe all those 7, 8, and 9 inning performances earlier in the year are starting to catch up with him.
Well, I think you hit it right on the head there. That's a lot of innings. I mean, 180 innings, and that's not missing a turn at all. And you're going from a couple of different teams, and the type of pressure that brings. You're the guy that always got to make the difference in the pitching staff. So you put a lot more pressure on yourself, and it does take a toll on you. It's almost like he's not quite a gun for hire, but you kind of look at him kind of in that way, but because everybody's taking him just for that one reason, the Phillies, Seattle, and then on to the Rangers.
Two balls and no strikes to Alex. Lee struck him out in the 2nd inning, but Alex got him back with an RBI single in the 3rd. So he's 4 out of 11 against Cliff Lee, and one of those hits is a home run. And all that bouncing around. This is Cliff Lee's 4th team in less than 2 years. 2 balls and 1 strike. Originally out of the Expos organization, and part of that big trade that worked out much better for the Indians than it did the Montreal Expos. Bartolo Colon going from Cleveland to Montreal. And the Indians got Cliff Lee, Grady Sizemore, and Brandon Phillips. And there's Alex. That's going to go all the way to the fence in right field. Betemeet will score. Here comes Brian Pena around 3rd. He is safe on a 2-run double that ties the game. Ron Washington decides he cannot go any further with Cliff Lee. He will go to the bullpen with 2 outs in the 5th inning. Well, it's Matt Harrison in our first Chevy call to the bullpen. Alex Gordon with a 2-run double to right field.
All right, you see he hit the ball right at the end of his swing. The ball's away from him. He hooks it back down the line. Guerrero goes down and makes a good play, getting it off the wall. But the thing that gave the Royals the tie game is he missed the cutoff man. When you miss the first cutoff man, it gives Brian Pena a chance to come all the way around from first base to score.
So Brian Pena is safe at home, safe and secure, New York life. So a lefty out and a lefty in. It's Matt Harrison. 27th appearance for him. He's made 6 starts this year for the Rangers. So the Wood family has helped the Royals come up with 2 in the bottom of the 5th inning, and now it's Jamie working the camera, soon to be a member of the Wood family. Colin's fiance. No pressure. Not the swing that Uni was hoping for. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Uni remembers that fastball on the outer half that he hit for a home run down the right field line. Only this was a changeup, and it kind of made him turn it over a little bit. He felt that a little bit in his wrist.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Matt Harrison is originally out of the Braves organization, and a few years ago the Rangers made a very good trade for them with Atlanta. They sent Mark Teixeira there for the end of the year, and out of that deal they got Neftali Feliz, Matt Harrison, and Jared Saltalamacchia, a catching prospect who's now with the Boston Red Sox. There's Jamie taking a shot of Royals manager Ned Yost, trying to get some reaction from him if the Royals can take the lead on a base hit here from Betancourt. Gordon at second base, and Uni fouls it down by his feet.
Well, the Rangers really have kind of shot themselves in the foot fundamentally here tonight, Ryan, with Cliff Lee's 2 throws back to second base, and then there with Vladimir Guerrero missing Blanco on the relay throw home, and you force Moreland, a guy who's not accustomed to taking those relay throws, to try to make that play, and that's something he's not accustomed to. You hit Blanco, which is a good 20, 30 feet before Moreland. Now you got a chance at Pena at the plate. So they can go back and look at tonight's game so far and say, okay, Cliff Lee really didn't pitch that well, but at the same time, it could have been better had they done some things fundamentally right.
That's another thing, another breakdown in the game these days, hitting the cutoff man. So many times the outfielder just picks up the ball, throws it towards whatever base as hard as he can, and one of the first things that most people learn in Little League is to hit the cutoff man.
But I think what happens is once the ball, they know it's a base hit, they got guys running all over the place, and the first thing they do is they panic. Rather than picking up that front guy and they're giving him a good throw, then they just want to get it and let it go, and now all of a sudden you're 20 feet over his head, and if he hits Blanco, I guarantee you, Eddie Rodriguez stops Pena at third base.
Betancourt walks with 2 outs.
Now just take a look at his throw now. See where Blanco is and watch where Moreland is when he catches the ball. Now he's well over Blanco's head, and he's got to go back towards second base, and then he's got to try to make this play. Now just think how quick this play would have been had Blanco received the throw, and which is something he's used to doing, and get off a quick throw to the plate. So that's different than 90 feet. That's different than one-run games, and we always talk about how we get them.
Jay Miller is going to get his first Major League RBI. He might get 2. Betancourt coming around third base, and the Royals lead by 2 again.
Well, it's awful nice to see guys who haven't been getting a lot of hits get some hits. This fastball's down and in, and he goes inside of this ball, Ryan, and really drives his ball in the right center field. With Unieski on second, on first base, it's going to be a bang-bang play at the plate. He's going to be going for sure. Glad cuts it off. Let's see, Alex scores, and here comes Uni.
And a nice ovation for Jay Miller as they put up on Crown Vision that he just recorded his first Major League RBI and picked a good time. So back and forth we go. The Rangers had just scored 3 in the top of the 5th inning to take a 2-run lead, and now the Royals are back with 4. So after getting shut out on just 3 hits last night, the Royals have 8 runs, 11 hits in less than 5 innings tonight. Gregor Blanco is 1 out of 3 with a single, and he has scored a run. To the right side, and Harrison doesn't field it cleanly, and the Royals are still breathing.
Well, this is one of those plays where you got to make sure you get the ball in the glove, and Harrison did it. The ball kind of hit and just kind of went back to the left a little bit, and he tried to backhand it, Ryan, and you can see where he just ran right by it.
Base hit, Frank.
Because it's a pitcher. Why did they give him a glove to hide the ball?
Well, it's just changed to an error 1, which I think is a good call. I mean, that a major league athlete should be able to pick up that ball, and when he does, I mean, he needs about a half effort underhand toss to get it to first base. That ball was leading him right to his target. Mike Aviles into center field, and that makes the Rangers pay for the year. The Royals get another run, and they lead 9-6.
The floodgates have kind of opened up here in the 5th inning for the Royals. Aviles hits this ball right off the end of the bat and loops it out in the center field, and Jay Miller scores easily on this base hit. You can see where Mike reaches down and just right off the end of the bat and serves it out in the center field.
So Jay Miller scores his first major league run. And for the Royals, it's a 5-run 5th inning. And 2 on for Billy Butler, who has 2 hits. And the only time he's made out, he hit one right on the button to second baseman Andres Blanco. And that out was at the beginning of this inning. The short. So Billy makes the first and last out. But in between, the Royals come up with 5 and have their biggest lead of the night. Signal is yours. Wield it to transmit anything you want. Verizon. And by Chevrolet. Come see for yourself why 1,000 people a day are switching to Chevy. See your Kansas City area Chevy dealer. Royals by 3, and now Jesse Chavez to the hill and a Chevy call to the bullpen. So Sean O'Sullivan gives up 6 runs on 9 hits, but because of the offense and because he got through 5 innings, he qualifies for the win. Jay Miller right in the middle, the Royals' 5-run 5th with his first 2 Major League RBIs and scored his first Major League run. It'll be Matt Trainer, Mitch Moreland, and Andres Blanco in the 6th inning. That's the lower third of the Rangers' order. Trainer has singled and lined out to third base. On the ground to Betancourt, and there's one away. Well, let's go back to tonight's AT&T trivia question. And there are 4 pitchers in Major League history that have won the Cy Young one year, and then the next year were traded away. And we gave you 2 of them back-to-back years with the Indians. C.C. Sabathia and Cliff Lee. You want to take a stab at the other 2?
I'd say Saban Higgin and Dave Cone.
Got one of them right. David Cone, and then Frank Viola. And the New York Mets were the benefactors in both of those deals, getting Viola in '89 and Cone in '95.
I think they eventually got saves too down the road.
Moreland drives it into deep center. Back goes Blanco at the wall, and the Texas Rangers have hit their 4th home run of the night. So Mitch Moreland, who was just 2 for his last 21, he joins Vladimir Guerrero, David Murphy, and Michael Young with home runs tonight.
Well, we talked about Moreland's short swing right here. You see it right here, just fastball right out over the plate. And he got it up in that wind, and the ball just continued to carry. Blanco checked the wall 2 or 3 times. The ball just kept going. He got up in that wind and drifted right out of here for a home run.
A strike to Andres Blanco. Back on Saturday night in Cleveland, Jesse Chavez gave up a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 10th to Asdrubal Cabrera, but the Royals got him right back out there on Sunday and had an effective outing as the Royals avoided the sweep and won on Sunday. Blanco is 0 for 3. That's the second time he has lined out tonight, and there are 2 outs in the 6th. Jesse inherited a runner with no outs in the 7th inning, and the Royals leading by 1 on Sunday. Worked around a 1-out walk, kept the Indians scoreless, and he was part of that flourish, if you will, the way the Royals bullpen ended the game on Sunday. Remember, 7 straight strikeouts. Chavez struck out his final hitter in the 7th. Blake Wood came on, struck out 3 in the 8th. And Joaquim Soria struck out 3 in the 9th. Two balls and no strikes on Elvis Andrus, who is 2 out of 3 with 2 runs scored. And that's into right center field. Blanco and Miller chasing. It rolls deep, and Andrus has his 3rd hit.
Elvis Andrus tonight, Ryan, he's put together 3 really good at-bats. He's taken 3 fastballs out over the plate, didn't try to pull the ball, stayed behind the ball, and hit a line drive in the right center field. I tell you what, the ball almost split him and got to the wall. They did a good job running that ball down. But he just doesn't try to do anything special with the bat. I mean, he just stays right there and just. I mean, those are some pretty line drives he's been hitting tonight to the right side, left to center field and right field.
Tomorrow night is another Inc. College night. Royals and the Rangers at 7:10. College night offers select tickets for high school and college students with a valid ID for just $7, plus food and beverage specials in the outfield plaza concession areas. Royals.com or 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets. Now Michael Young drives it to deep right. The wind will carry that up against the wall. And back come the Rangers. They have scored 2 in the 6th inning. And for Michael Young, that's his 3rd hit. And it's a 1-run game.
Fastball away. Moved back into the middle of the plate, and Michael Young just stayed with it. Didn't try to pull it. Stayed. The Rangers doing a good job just staying with those pitches away and driving them away. He stayed right on top of that fastball. And like you say, Ryan, this ball just took off once it got up in the air.
At one point tonight, this was a 0-0 game. Not for very long, but it was. In fact, just one batter into it, it was a 0-0 game. And we've only had 3 scoreless half innings so far. 1 ball and 1 strike on Josh Hamilton.
Well, the way the game has gone so far, it might come down to the last team that gets a chance to hit. But I tell you, no pitcher tonight's really come out and really established themselves in this ball game. And every time they leave a ball out over the plate, it's getting crushed.
2-1 to Hamilton. Chavez got Trainer to ground out to short, but then Moreland homered. Blanco line to center, and now back-to-back doubles to get the Rangers' 2nd run of the inning home. And now the dangerous Hamilton. Good pitch across the knees, and it's 2-2. If you want to cover your right eye, you can take care of your eye test right now. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Last night, the Rangers won 3-0 with single runs in the 2nd, 5th, and 9th innings in a game that took 2 hours and 28 minutes. Tonight, we have a combined 17 runs and 24 hits. And this is only the top of the 6th inning. Fair ball up the line, and the Rangers come back with 3 in the 6th inning.
One of the few breaking balls that Chavez has thrown, right, and this one came up. It didn't really have a lot of depth to it, and Hamilton hit around it and got it right inside the first base bag for a double down the line. You see Michael Young comes in to score.
So a tough night for Jesse Chavez as he gives up 3 in the 6th inning, departs with a runner at second base, and Robinson Tejeda comes through the gate. So still without a win as a starter, as Jesse Chavez gives up 3 in the top of the 6th inning, a home run, and then 3 consecutive doubles. And the Royals have to go to Robinson Tejeda with 2 down in the 6th inning. So we're all even now. A wild-looking scoreboard with all the runs scored. Again, just 3 scoreless half innings so far. But back to all even, and Vladimir Guerrero, who has driven in 3, bats with Hamilton at second base and 2 outs. Oh and 1.
I just don't think Vladimir Guerrero was taking a pitch first pitch. Not last night and not tonight.
Well, based on what he did in the 5th inning, they are hiding the women and the children up in the dry duck seats.
Well, you have to think about it when you see this ball traveling off of his bat, and you made the right call before it even hit the water. You said this ball is going to be wet. And I really thought it was going to be up above the fountains when he first left his bat.
Swings and misses. And moving up to third base is Hamilton. It was a perfect combination of a hittable pitch, a big swing, and a jet stream blowing out to left field tonight. That's a wild pitch on Tejeda. And now a 1-2 pitch to Vladimir Guerrero. Center field and right at Blanco. That's the inning. The Rangers get 3 to tie it in the 6th inning. Right. The Royals have a 5-run inning, a 3-run inning. The Rangers have a pair of 3-run innings. And the Rangers will make another pitching change. It's rookie Michael Kirkman. And for Kirkman, this is just his 5th major league appearance. The Royals haven't seen him yet, but off to a good start. Holding the league to a 136 average in 6 1/3 innings. And he has 7 strikeouts over that span. That's a fair ball, a long throw for Michael Young. Great play.
I bet him he hits this ball right over the bag, and Michael Young gets it on a hop. He does a good job planting that right foot and getting that weight shift back to first. A nice strong throw. Yeah. That's about as deep in the infield as you can go right there, and he just threw a strike right to first base.
So Kirkman gets some help from his defense. And defense has been an issue for the Rangers tonight, especially on the mound. They've committed 2 errors, one by Cliff Lee and the other by Matt Harrison, which has led to 4 unearned runs. Ron Washington's team last year shaved off 26 errors from 2008. As he has stressed the importance of improving defense. Longtime infield coach with the Oakland A's before taking over as Rangers manager. Their numbers aren't very good this year as far as errors go, but of course that can be a very deceiving statistic. And 19 of the errors have been charged to Michael Young at third base. The pitchers have had their problems with defense, and we've seen that a couple of times tonight. Overall, the Rangers feel like they've had a good defensive year. So all of the errors they have committed, and they're up to 93. Not a reflection of how good they've caught and thrown the ball.
And you really want those errors to be really low up the middle, from catcher out to second base, shortstop out to your center field. Those guys are going to be the ones playing a lot more and handling the ball a lot more.
set up perfect defensively. Keela hits it right to Andres Blanco, and they're 2 down in the bottom of the 6th. Jeffrey Flanagan continues his look into the Royals farm system on FoxSportsKansasCity.com. Today he updates us on the progress of third baseman Mike Moustakas, first baseman Eric Hosmer, and several others. Read Flanny's take now at FoxSportsKansasCity.com. How about Moustakas in the game last night for Omaha? If you didn't hear about it or read it, he had 3 home runs and 11 RBIs in one game.
Ryan, it's something I haven't heard of. I mean, whether you go with Pee Wee League, Little League, high school, college, that's a memorable day. You drive in 11 runs.
I'm flipping through the Royals media guide here, and the record for RBIs at this level is 7. Now it's been done 11 times. So Moustakas, he had 4 more than that. Frank White, by the way, just very casually pointed the finger at himself. Okay, let me look a little closer here. There we go, against the East Texas Rangers back in 1986, August the 19th, so almost exactly 14 years ago, or 24 years ago, excuse me. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Pena. So the Royals' record is 7. Moustakas had 11.
What a night. And the 3 home runs on top of that.
Ryan Pena with a 2-hit night. May have chased ball 4. And a routine fly ball to Guerrero. So perhaps Kirkman takes control of the game with a 1-2-3-6.
Of baseball ahead. Still plenty left on this homestand, including Real Royals trivia on Friday. Get there early to Rivals. We'll take 3 people to be contestants. Great prizes, good questions, and get a chance to be on TV as well. And yes, you get to see and hear the voice, Ryan, of Kevin Shank. All right.
Sorry about that. I didn't realize my microphone was on.
Well, that's okay. You just beat me to it. All right, we'll do a Rangers question. I got one for Split on the postgame show. How about Frank, who hit 20 home runs in his career against the Texas Rangers off of 16 different pitchers? Frank, as we get the quick pop-up. Of those pitchers, you homered off of 2 of them multiple times. Who are those Rangers pitchers?
Wow. Mike Loin was one.
Nope.
Nope.
16 different pitchers, 2 of them you homered off, actually each 3 times.
Nolan Ryan.
No, he did not have a home run against Nolan Ryan, not in a Rangers uniform at least.
When he was with the Angels.
2 big names, too.
We'll make sure we get that clear.
Charlie Huff?
Maybe not with the Rangers, but he got one with the Angels, Joel. I don't know if you caught that.
This is real Rangers trivia. I mean, real Royals trivia. All right, Charlie Huff was one of them.
You kind of owned Charlie Huff, didn't you?
Own the knuckleballers, as we've said before. And the other...
Oh, famous guy?
The other had the same first name as you. I guess he still does.
Oh, Tanana?
Yep.
Wow. You know,
Tanana White.
I remember him more from the Angels than the Rangers.
How many times did you homer off him when he was with the Angels?
Don't know.
My research is done for the night, but we've had 18 runs and 25 hits, so plenty of time to do a little research. We will have real Royals trivia on Friday, guys.
All right, thanks, Joel. Well, on the Rangers side, Michael Kirkman took some control in the bottom of the 6th inning, and now Robinson Tejeda, who got the final out of the 6th, has gotten a foul out and a strikeout to begin the 7th inning.
They got a real generous call here on a fastball that was running away. Box track showed us it was a couple balls outside the plate, but it was down, hit the catcher's mitt, and he got the call.
Matt Traynor is 1 out of 3. Playing in his 68th game of the year. And that's notable for him because he has never played in 68 games in a major league season in his career. Very late on the fastball, 0-2. This is an easy guy to pull for. Mentioned from the Royals organization, traded to the Marlins. He spent 10 years in the minor leagues before making his major league debut.
He came over today, saw Art Stewart, and he was really happy to see Art. And they talked about the draft when he was drafted, and I was kind of interested. You know me, I'm just a bystander just checking him out, but he was really excited.
Well, that little guy is not sleeping because of boredom. It's been an action-packed night with a 9-9 tie into the bottom of the 7th inning. We hope you'll come out to Kauffman Stadium on Saturday at 8 a.m. for the Royals 5K run walk. The race starts outside of Kauffman Stadium and ends on the field. Participants of the event will receive a Royals game ticket, T-shirt, food and drink, and much more. All proceeds will benefit the Autism Alliance of Kansas City and Royals Charities. Joakim Soria starting to loosen up so that he's ready in the 9th inning if needed. He's the subject of tonight's Haynes Comfort Zone. He has pitched 14 consecutive shutout innings with 9 saves during that span and over a longer stretch, Joaquim has converted 28 consecutive saves, which is now a Royals team record. Alex Gordon, who tied the game with a 2-out 2-run double in the 5th inning, and has driven in 3 tonight, this time trying to get on with a bunt. Rookie Michael Kirkman took over in the bottom of the 6th and had a quick 1-2-3 inning. Cliff Lee gave up 7 runs in 4 2/3 innings. 3 of those were unearned because of his own error. And Matt Harrison gave up 2 runs, and 1 of those was unearned because of his error. Didn't mean to do it. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, that's what Alex really has to continue to work on, Ryan, is taking that pitch away and trying to hit it that way. And he's strong enough that if he gets enough bat on it, he can pull it back to right field. But he gets that top swing, and that's why he doesn't drive that ball to right field. So now you get another fastball on the outside, and then you just give up on it. So they're going to work him away, and Lee shows that he can go out there and hit that ball the other way. So Quick Chip shows us 2 box tracks that this ball is right on the outside corner.
And now a couple of right-hand batters coming up. Ron Washington goes out to the hill. He hasn't motioned to the bullpen yet. And now he does. And it's going to be the right-handed submariner, Darren O'Day. Retired for, and a very impressive outing for him, and hands the ball off to Darren O'Day, who faced 1 batter last night and got Alex Gordon on a line out to first base, and then Neftali Feliz handled the 9th inning. So Darren O'Day, who might remind some of a former Royals great Dan Quisenberry with his submarine style pitching, comes on with right-hand hitters coming up, Yuniesky, Betancourt, and Jay Miller. Might have gotten a piece of the mask. 1 strike to Uni, who hit a solo home run just inside the right field foul pole in the 2nd inning. And he has struck out, walked, 2 runs scored, and 1 RBI. Popped up, and it's Andres Blanco in very shallow center field. 2 outs in the 7th inning. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Brian Lefevre with Frank White, Joe Goldberg, producer Kevin Shank, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton and Sam Abramson, and the producer of Royals Live is TJ McGinnis. Well, this is the calm after the storm, if you will. A 9-9 tie after the Rangers scored 3 in the top of the 6th inning. And now the offense, at least for the time being, is dried up. Nelson Cruz makes the play in left field. Jay Miller is 1 for 4. And we go to the 8th inning, tied at 9. Back and forth, and now tied for the last inning and a half. So that's what's going on here at Kauffman Stadium. Elsewhere around the American League on the Panera Around the League scoreboard. Good news for the Rangers as the A's lose. Yankees win again. They hit 3 home runs. Chicago beats Cleveland. Martin has the go-ahead RBI. Baltimore beats Boston, and now the Orioles 7 games above 500 with Buck Showalter. Toronto over Tampa Bay, and Jose Bautista hits another home run. Minnesota needs to hang on if they want to remain 4 games in front of Chicago. And the Angels and the Mariners are just underway in the Northwest. Blake Wood on for the 8th inning in a 9-9 tie. And Blake pitched on Sunday. He hadn't pitched in 10 days because of stiffness in his back. But didn't show any signs of rust when he came on and struck out the side against the Cleveland Indians. Royals are going to be careful with anything that has to do with Blake's back. He had surgery on his back in 2007. Mitch Moreland has hit one of the 4 Rangers home runs. The most recent one, that was with 1 out in the 6th inning, his 4th of the year. Vladimir Guerrero is homered. David Murphy is homered. And Michael Young is homered. 3 out of the 4 have been solo home runs. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Blake Wood. Blake Wood did not follow Alex Gordon and Kaneko Teixeira and shave his beard today.
Maybe they shaved him for luck. Well, Teixeira's on the DL, so it doesn't really matter what he does right now. Alex may have shaved his for luck.
Well, if it's for luck, Alex has 3 RBIs tonight. About a sinker off of his foot. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, we mentioned this way back in the 4th inning, that this game was going to come down to the better bullpen with all the pitches that Cliff Lee and Sean O'Sullivan threw. Sean was able to get through 5. Cliff Lee just 4 2/3 innings. And the dirt. And the throw down to first base completes the strikeout. 1 away in the 8th.
Well, Quick Trip shows us in Fox Tracks that this is a good sinker down, hit just behind home plate. Marley couldn't hold up. Payne does a good job blocking it out in front of the plate, and then he does a good job coming in and making it play the first base. He comes out, he gets it with his bare hand, goes right on top of the ball. Would have been easy if he just got that right foot down. That he kind of threw off his right foot. If he'd got a good crow hop and a little bit better balance on that throw, it would have been easier for him.
Andres Blanco, after getting 3 hits last night, is 0 for 3 tonight. But among the 0 for 3 is a line out to third and a line out to center field. He and his hitting coach have something in common. When Andres debuted with the Royals back in 2004, at the age of 20, he became the youngest position player to ever play for the Royals. Just a little bit younger than Clint Hurdle when he made his debut with the Royals.
No, Clint was I think he was around 19 when he first came up out of AAA, I believe. But
now, according to the records, he was 20 years old, and Blanco is just a couple months or so younger than him.
Yeah, I always see him at 19 because I see the cover of Sports Illustrated, and he was a lot of hype
Can't
around
miss
it.
or whatever. The youngest ever to play with the Royals, Brett Saberhagen, was 19 in 1984. Into center field, right past Blake Wood. So Blanco has his first hit, and the top of the order coming up with 1 on, 1 out.
Another natural reaction for a pitcher, but you just don't want to stick that bare hand back on a line drive like this, and you just want to get that hand out of the way and let the ball go. But you see Blake Wood, once this ball comes back through the middle, you can't really see it that well, but then again, he might have been just trying to get out of the way.
Yeah, that hand didn't go up to make a play. Going to keep the ball off his lips. Rule number 1.
Keep the ball off your lips. You got to flash that leather.
And that brings up Elvis Andrus, who has 3 hits and 3 runs scored. Speaking of young players, Andrus made his debut with the Rangers last year. He was just 20 years old. He turned 22 5 days ago, and what a thrill for him. His backup was Omar Vizquel, and Andrus grew up in Venezuela idolizing Omar Vizquel. And the Rangers had the youngest position player in the major leagues being mentored by the oldest position player in the major leagues.
You sure couldn't ask for a better combo than that. I mean, and Andrus hit the seams in great shape. Everybody was talking about him. He's done a lot of good things right. He showed good range is short, ability to drive the ball to right center field. And just where Omar comes in good is just teach him the shortcuts, teach him how to be steady and do things the same way all the time, and don't try to be flashy. Like Tony Musa would say, a little more substance and not a lot of style.
Can you imagine what it would have been like for you in your first year in the big leagues if the Royals went out and signed Frank Robinson just to work with you and make sure that you were ready for everyday play in the big leagues?
I'll tell you what, he was about as mentally tough as any guy I know that played this game, and that's one of the things I liked about him. And if he'd have brought just that every day to me, I would have been happy. I would have been happy for that. But I was just fortunate enough that the guys that I came up with, they already had that mentality. My first roommate was John Mabry, and he said, I got one rule, and that's if you go out there and make a mistake, just admit you made a mistake. We make no excuses. We just admit our mistakes and keep moving.
Sinking below the strike zone, 3 balls, 1 strike.
I'm kind of glad I came up what I did, Ryan, because my first 4 years were under the old reserve clause where you didn't have free agency, you were the property of your ball club, you just couldn't move. And the guy, it was 1-year contracts. The guys were very serious.
Bedamit down to second one, no double play, but he handles a tricky hop up against his chest. And they get the force on Blanco.
Yeah, they were very serious about the game, and they just, it was all about the game. And their money was at the end of the year. And we go back and, Bedamit does a good job. I told you about third base. You just got to block that ball, keep it in front of you. It gave a nice throw to second base, but didn't get it turned. So that's what I like about the first 4 years of my career, because it was all about business, and they didn't have any room for anything but business. Then free agency came, things started to change a little bit. You didn't talk to the other team when I played, and if you talk longer than 5 minutes, the umpires would sit out behind home plate during batting practice. And if they saw you talking too long, they would fine you, and you'd have to send money to your favorite charity. But that's how they kept the game where it was. And I think the guys went into those games really wanting to win at all costs.
Michael Young is 3 out of 4. Has his 20th home run of the year. The Royals thought that Andrus might be running 1 ball and no strikes. Would you like me to read to you rule book rule 3.09?
Fraternizing.
Players in uniform shall not address or mingle with spectators, nor sit in the stands before, during, or after a game. No manager, coach, or player shall address any spectator before or during the game. Players of opposing teams shall not fraternize at any time while in uniform.
That's the way it used to be.
At any time.
And if they saw, and if they saw you doing it, they would just fine you, and you just have to keep moving.
I mean, that's all they do now. They come out and talk during batting practice, during stretching. They run their wind sprints before the game and meet out in center field and hug and talk. 4-hit game for Michael Young. So first and second with 2 down, and here comes the meat of the order. Every now and then I'll take a little trip through the rule book, because there's some rules that take a lot of interpretation and review. And I mean, it spells out very clearly in the rule book. I mean, you might as well just take that rule out of there.
You might as well, because the umpires used to have to come early during batting practice, and they used to sit behind the home plate in the stands, and you knew they were there, and that's what they were looking for. Now they may come an hour before the game.
And getting back to when you played, and guys of your era, it seems, really believe that winning was more important than it is today. Everyone wants to win, but for you guys, there was more at stake, because the money that you made in the playoffs, I mean, that was
a lot of times that was more than your salary.
I mean, some of these guys, it's a pay cut now. I mean, when they play in the playoffs, and if you won and went to the playoffs, chances were you had a job the next year.
Definitely.
Ball 1 to Josh Hamilton, who has 2 hits and 2 RBIs.
That's a big difference. I mean, we lose a game back in those days, especially prior to free agency. I mean, the clubhouse was quiet. I mean, you get on the bus to the hotel, it was quiet. I mean, nobody said a word. Now they're playing loud music. They bringing loud music all over the place. in the old timers, they thought that was respecting the game. You know, once you get to the hotel, okay, do what you got to do. But in the clubhouse after a loss, on the bus after a loss, just
on the plane,
on the plane home on getaway day, just keep it quiet. You know, and that was a good lesson learned.
Andrus at second, Young at first. And it's 2-1 to Hamilton.
You know, a lot of times they say, oh, well, you got to have fun playing this game. But I'm here to tell you that the only fun in this business is winning. Because if you're not winning, you ain't having no fun. You can play all the music in the world and you can act like you are, but when you're not winning ball games, you're not going to have fun. The fans not going to let you have fun. Your parents aren't going to say. Your parents will say, "What's wrong with you guys?" You know, everybody's looking at you. I mean, you might say, "Oh, we're a great clubhouse, we're having fun and all," but if you ain't winning, it ain't no fun. I don't care what anybody says. Because that's what that uniform's all about. It's all about winning. It's all about leaving it on the field every day. If something is broke, try to fix it.
And now Hamilton walks to load it up for Vladimir Guerrero. Told you at the beginning of the broadcast tonight that the combination of Young, Hamilton, Guerrero, and Cruz last night only combined for 1 run scored and 1 RBI. Well, it's a different story tonight. They have scored 4 runs combined, and they have driven in 7. Ball 1. Earlier this year, when the Rangers were here at Kauffman Stadium for a brief 2-game series at the end of May, Guerrero faced Blake Wood once, and he doubled. Well, how many times have you seen that in your life? Vladimir Guerrero taking all the way. I don't think I've ever seen that.
I think that first fastball he threw, it ran up and in. I think he felt they was going to try to pitch him inside, so he just want to take a look at one. We saw that pitch was just on the corner. We saw Vladimir Guerrero take some pitches inside. And
boy, you're lucky to get a swing like that out of him. So Blake Wood tiptoes through a minefield and has a scoreless 8.
Immediately following this game, Paul Splittorff and I will have Boulevard Royals Live. We'll talk about a rough night for both pitchers and how the Royals were able to run up the pitch count against Cliff Lee. We'll hear from Ned Yost and much more coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. Guys, I got to tell you, Mike Moustakas just just 1 for 3 with a run tonight. Split asked him on the pregame, how do you follow up last night? You got enough left? Yeah, take a 1 for 3 night, guys.
It's all right.
I'll take it. I'll take 1 for 3 every night, especially if it's got an RBI behind it.
You know, combined over the last 2 nights, 11 RBIs, 3 homers. It's a pretty good 2 days. It was fun to have him on the pregame show today.
He's a great kid, Joe.
Darren O'Day stays on for the bottom of the 8th, and the Royals have the top of the order. Blanco, Aviles, Butler. No one has scored since the Rangers tied the game with 3 runs in the 6th inning. So the game is completely turned around in 5.5 innings. There were a combined 3 scoreless half innings. So you're talking about 11 half innings. And in 8 of those, someone scored at least 1 run. Well, now we've gone 4 straight, and nobody has scored. So the top of the bottom of the 1st, top of the 2nd, bottom of the 4th, and then now 4 in a row. Thank you, Ron Swan. Two balls, 2 strikes to Blanco. On base twice, once with an error, and he has a single and a run scored.
You got both teams watching the scoreboard, Ryan. They look up there and see 9 runs, and they say, boy, 9 runs should be enough. The Ross fought hard to get to 9, and then the Rangers fought hard to get back to 9, but just couldn't get past that.
Got him looking. The slider that started out of the strike zone and ended up in the strike zone.
When they're coming down below, I mean, you just don't really know exactly what's going to come out from down there. You've seen the fastball and sinkers, but here's a slider on the outside corner.
Darren O'Day went to the University of Florida and was cut. And he was a traditional overhand pitcher. So he spent the next summer learning to be a sidearm pitcher, and then eventually made the Gators team and was their closer. He was undrafted, signed with the Angels in 2006, and he had to make a very difficult decision. Did he want to sign with the Angels, or did he want to be a pre-med student at the University of Florida? He wanted to be a veterinarian. He had been accepted to med school. He was drafted, or signed rather, as a 5th-year senior, so his education was complete. Decided to give baseball a try, and he's been in the big leagues with the Angels and now the Rangers. And he has back-to-back strikeouts in the bottom of the 8th.
He's coming from down under. And you'll see that, and then that's going to make right-handed hitters kind of give a little ground right here. This ball just climbs right up the hill there. And you don't usually see a pitch that high from down that low unless it's on purpose.
Ball 1 on Billy Butler, who has a 2-hit game. The Royals lost a run back in the bottom of the 1st inning. Mike Aviles was at first with 1 out, and Billy hit a ground rule double to center field. If it stays in, Aviles scores, but he had to hold at 3rd, and the Royals couldn't get him home. Billy's ahead, 2 balls and no strikes. Locked him up with that slider. That's the same pitch that he used to strike out Blanco. 2 balls and 1 strike. And then a fastball inside, 3-1. 88 miles an hour these days doesn't sound like a whole lot of velocity, but coming down from that angle, that ball Looks like it's coming out of the pitcher's mound at 88 miles an hour.
A lot of times you see the ball late, and that's what makes it appear harder. That's why you got to try to force it the other way and try to get it in the air. But you got to hang in there, and they throw it at the waist so that you make you move your feet, and then they go back away on the outside corner. And that slider's been effective, and you've gone in, you've gone out, then maybe the slider's the next pitch that you throw in this situation.
Trainer sets up inside, and it is a slider. Had him giving ground, so O'Day strikes out the side. Tied at 9. And in some ways, I thought that was just the beginning when we were tied at 9, the way these teams are going back and forth. Joaquim Soria will get Nelson Cruz, David Murphy, and Matt Trainer. 1 ball, 1 strike. So game number 56 for Soria. He has pitched 14 consecutive scoreless innings in a non-save situation. One and 2. Blake Wood got out of the 8th inning after the bases were loaded with 2 outs and Vladimir Guerrero at the plate. He got a weak swing and a slow roller to second base. Cruz strikes out, and there's 1 away in the 9th.
Joaquim is just so good, Ryan. He's just setting up the outside corner with pitches and strikes, and then all of a sudden runs the fastball back in under your hands for the strikeout. It gets you thinking away, and when he got you out there, then you know, just great timing for when they come back inside.
And a strike across to David Murphy. The Rangers have hit 4 home runs. Murphy hit the 2nd of the 4. And it was his 3rd career home run against Sean O'Sullivan in 7 at-bats. In fact, the only hits that he has off of O'Sullivan are home runs. He hit it to straightaway center field. Yuniesky Betancourt is homered for the Royals, so we've had 5 home runs tonight. But we've had no runs since the top of the 6th inning. Up the middle and past Betancourt and into center field.
And Murphy hits this ball hard back up the middle, and Unieski couldn't run it down before he got in the center field. That's a hard hit ground ball.
And Matt Trainer will face Soria for the first time. Back in the second inning, he took Sean O'Sullivan to center field for a single. Brian Pena is on it.
I'm really kind of surprised he's bunting right here, Ryan, with one out.
That looked like a sacrifice bunt.
Definitely a sacrifice bunt right there. You'd think maybe a hit and run might be more in order than you already got one out. And Brian Pena did a great job staying with this bunt and made a nice play.
So now Mitch Moreland will face Soria for the first time. Moreland has one of the 4 home runs. David Murphy has 10 stolen bases, so the Royals are going to have to keep an eye on him. He's only been thrown out once. And a strike from Soria. O'Sullivan went the first 5 and gave up 6 runs. Jesse Chavez gave up 3 in 2/3 of an inning. But now Robinson Tejeda, Blake Wood, and Joaquim Soria have combined to pitch 3 scoreless innings. Fouled back, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Last inning there was a little bit of a drizzle, and it appears that some heavy rains are just missing Kauffman Stadium. We've been seeing flashes of lightning off to the west-northwest. There was a good one right there. So some oohs and ahs from the fans here tonight, but no heavy rain. 2 balls, 2 strikes. But we know rain will arrive eventually, according to the forecast, and will cool things down, we hope. We've had all the signs of a thunderstorm on the way with those heavy winds out of the south all night. Hold to the right side. Aviles is there. Tequila. And we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Royals will have Bedamit, Kaihue, and Pena. Scoreless innings, and the last time the Royals beat the Rangers was back on May the 25th, and Soria picked up his 100th career save. Veteran Darren Oliver will come on for the bottom of the 9th inning. The Royals are just 1-6 against the Rangers this year. They were swept in 4 games in Arlington in early May and then split the 2 here at Kauffman Stadium at the end of May. It'll be Wilson Betemit, Keila Kaihue, and Brian Pena against Darren Oliver. Outside, ball 1. And speaking of against Darren Oliver, Wilson Betemit is 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. 2 balls and no strikes. Three and 0. Cliff Lee and Matt Harrison, the first 2 pitchers for the Rangers, gave up the 9 runs. 4 of those were unearned. And now they've gotten good work from their next 2, Michael Kirkman and Darren O'Day, with 3 combined innings and 3 perfect innings with 4 strikeouts. Center field, and Murphy cuts it off, going to try and hold Betemit to a single. He is in with a double. So Wilson Betemit is safe at second, safe and secure, New York life.
I say this is what Betemit does well against left-handers running. He takes the fastball out over the plate and drives it to right field. When he gets in trouble, when he tries to pull, he stays right through this ball, gets everything behind it, head right down through the swing, and then it's off and running from here. Murphy does a good job cutting it off, but had trouble getting his feet set, and that gives Betemit enough time to get into second base.
And Willie Bloomquist will run for Betemit. Ball 1 to Keila Kaihue. So the winning run at second base with nobody out. Keila is 0 for 4, but in the 3rd inning, reaching on a fielder's choice, he drove in a run and eventually came around to score. Missed a fastball at 93 miles an hour.
This is that situation here, Ryan, where you're trying to get a pitch that you can handle, a pitch that you can drive to the right side and advance Willie Bloomquist to third base. You don't want to chase that ball away off the plate.
And now he's going to bunt. Didn't like the pitch. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Well, I don't know if you go back to all this time at AAA, he might not have bunted at all this year.
Keila, before this year, had 16 sacrifice bunts. Lays off the breaking ball, 3 balls, 1 strike. So he doesn't do it often, but he's done it before. But now in a hitter's count, 3-1.
Now this is where he's got to really be selective. Make sure he gets his pitch.
And it was a breaking ball, if that was his pitch, and he missed. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, you take that look at that swing. It's more of a swing that he wants to pull his ball to the right side, but you can see these balls are off the plate, and he does have the ability to go that way and look for a pitch away. But right now his mind is saying advance that runner to third base, but he's got to get a pitch to do it with.
Bloomquist running for Betemit to open the inning with a double to center field. a 9-9 tie, but no one has scored since the top of the 6th inning. And Keela strikes out. He got him with a fastball. It's 5 strikeouts for the Rangers' last 3 pitchers: Kirkman, O'Day, and now Oliver.
Well, Oliver knows what Keela wants to try to do here, and he wants to stay away from it. All these pitches are off the plate, away. And as a young hitter, you're thinking about advancing that runner, and you're just trying to roll over and try to get that ball to the right side. But they're going to work you out that way, and then that's when you look out there, and then you try to drive it deep enough, maybe you get him to tag up and get over to third base.
Ball 1 to Brian Pena, who has a 2-hit game, starting his first night game of the year. Every start for him before tonight has been in the day game after the night game. There will be no day game in this series. The final game is tomorrow at 7:10. Winning run at second base, Willie Bloomquist with 1 out. It's away from Trainer, but not far enough for Bloomquist to gamble and go to third base.
Well, Matt Trainer really jumps on this pitch, Ryan. He didn't wait any time at all. As soon as that ball goes off his glove, and he's right on top of it. That would have been a short throw to third. It would have been a close play.
Inside 3-0. I remember when we were in Miami in 2008 for interleague play, and before the series started, the Marlins were out working on defense, and the catchers were working on blocking balls in the dirt. I don't remember who the other catcher was, but he was just kind of going through the motions, and Matt Trainer was working hard like he was doing it during the game. Ball 4, and the runners at first and second with 1 out. And I remember someone once telling me that practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. I remember watching this veteran backup catcher on a hot, muggy day in Miami just working as if that was going to be his last day in the big leagues. And I bring that up because he jumped all over that ball in the dirt, making sure that Willie Bloomquist stayed at second base.
Well, you're right, Ryan. Perfect practice. What you hit it right on the head there. And if you're going to practice, you might as well practice game situations and game speed. And when you get in the game, it just becomes second nature to you.
Fouled away by Alex. No balls, 1 strike. He tied the game back in the 5th inning.
But did a good job here. Just pulled the ball down the right field corner. Got himself 2 RBI right here and a double in the process. And Alex is another guy, too. They work away, but he's strong enough sometimes. If it's not quite away as you want it to, he can pull this ball back in the right field for a base hit. But they want to try to get him to drive that ball the other way. So everything's going to try to be away from him. They're not going to give him anything to pull.
He has faced Darren Oliver twice and has 1 hit, and it was a home run. Alex already has a walk-off home run for the Royals this year. He has Bloomquist at second, Pena at first with 1 out. Did he go? No swing. Mike Riley, the umpire, at third base.
Well, Oliver's been behind heavy hitter. He just had to work hard to come back and get the 1 strikeout. But you go behind hitters like he is, you only ask him for trouble the longer it goes.
Darren Oliver's dad, Bob, was an original Royal. So Darren was born in Kansas City on the Missouri side in 1970, while his dad was playing for the Royals. He grew up in California. Breaking ball locked him up, and the count is 2-2. A home run would be nice. A double would be nice, but with Bloomquist's speed at second base and with 2 strikes,
A single would be divine.
Shorten up and think single. Well put. Bloomquist to third, and the throw is not in time. So now, a ground ball that is well placed, or a fly ball deep enough, the Royals could win the game with Alex Gordon making an out.
Willie took off, had a good jump, Ryan. With a left-handed batter at the plate, and you got to be sure you can make it. He gets a good jump. He takes a peek in to see what happens at the plate. A lot closer play than you want to see right there. But you definitely got to make it in that situation.
And now Trainer, like the third base coach, goes through the signs, and he's telling the defense where he will throw if the Royals try a trick play here and a double steal. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Alex Gordon, who has driven in 3 runs already tonight. And he got him with a fastball. And now right-hand hitting Yuniesky Betancourt coming up, and Ron Washington coming out. So he's going to set up the righty-righty matchup. It'll be Alexi Ogando. They've never seen before, so Kevin Seitzer is going over the scouting report with Yuniesky Betancourt, who has already homered tonight, and with the help of the wind, got one just inside the foul pole in right field.
That was a good piece of hitting right here. Ran a fastball up away by Cliff Lee, and when he originally hit it, he kind of hesitated, and then he saw, hey, this ball might be coming back, and it fell right in the front row, right next to the foul pole.
And this is 10 days ago. A walk-off hit in Game 1 of a doubleheader with the White Sox. And then in Game 2, in the bottom of the 9th inning, Uni had a base hit to tie the game. And they're facing Alexi Ogando with runners at first and third and 2 down. And a fastball is low for ball 1. The radar gun says that pitch was 100 miles an hour. In the dirt, and Matt Trainer just saved the game.
Wow. That's about as smooth as you get right there on the backhand. You don't see a catcher come up with that ball very often. This fastball is right down. I mean, how fortunate are you right there to get that ball to go right in the center of your glove?
Bedamit doubled. Bloomquist running for him. With 1 out, Pena walked, and now there are 2 down. And a 2-0 pitch to Uni. And it's outside at 99 miles an hour. Why don't you just put him on and go for a force at any base? Now you got to throw a strike. Uni knows that.
Only problem with putting him on, he's already 3-0, and you load the bases. He doesn't have any command. He might just walk the run in.
Gets away. Bloomquist to the plate, and the Royals win it. Maybe that's what the scouting report was, because you hardly ever see Unievsky Betancourt take 4 pitches in a row. Matt Traynor could only save Ogando once, couldn't save him again, and the Royals take game 2 of the series on a wild pitch, and that's only appropriate because it was a wild game. 10-9 Royals. Let's go down to the field, and here's Joel.
All right, guys, thank you very much. We've got a couple of guests right now. We're going to start with Willie Bloomquist, all in a night's work. You come out there, pinch run, get to second base, or you're at second base, and then you pick your spot going to third. Just tell me about that and maybe feeling that whole situation out.
Just trying to be patient, get a pitch that I could run on and get a good jump. I wanted to make sure not to run ourselves out of an inning right there. So was able to get a breaking ball and then get into third. So a few more ways to score from third base, as you saw, than from second, so it worked out good.
I'm sure there's a little temptation there earlier in the count as well when that ball almost gets by Traynor, and maybe some temptation, but you make the right choice. It certainly looked like to stay at second base.
Well, yeah, that one didn't kick too far away. He's got a pretty good arm back there, so I wanted to make sure, like I said, I'm already in scoring position, but been nice to get to third base on that one, but, I'll take my chances on a stolen base instead.
And finally, you talked about it. You get to third. Anything can happen there. The rare walk-off wild pitch. But just take me through the thought process as you're at least feeling that out.
Well, exactly. I mean, I'm going to score on a base hit right there, but my job is to look for a ball in the dirt that kicks past the catcher and foot race to the plate there with the pitcher. So I got him.
All right, Willie, good job tonight. We're going to bring in Brian Pena. See, now BP, Willie didn't even get a chance to break a sweat, but you've been going strong for 9 innings here. How about this rather strange walk-off?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It's a W that we need, and our team, we never give up. Those guys, they keep working, the entire season, and, I'm glad that we win.
How tough is it pitching to that lineup? I mean, you've got some good pitchers, but you know how talented they are, and it just seemed like they kept clawing back against your guys.
I think that's one of the hardest lineups, in the American League. And those guys, they have power. They can hit with average. So it's pretty tough. But our team today, we got better and we won.
All right, and finally the approach there in the 9th inning against a really good veteran in Darren Oliver as well. But it looked like you were able to be patient at the plate, others as well.
I just want to make sure that that I had a good pitch to hit, and Gordon he hit pretty good against Lee, and I was trusting my teammates, and that wild pitch happened for us, and this victory is for those beautiful fans that stood up with us, and we won.
Well said. Good job tonight, Brian.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that is Brian Pena, the big smile. Nice job behind the plate and at the plate as well. The rare walk-off wild pitch. Guys, let's go upstairs to you.
All right, thank you, Joel, and that leads us to our Chevrolet play of the game.
Well, everybody saw this. This is a Ogando wild pitch, and Willie Bloomquist does a great job reading this ball past the catcher and just got in ahead of the throw from the catcher. Traynor does a good job hustling back. Ogando covers home plate, but Willie beat him to the plate.
So the Royals even the series with just their second win of the year against the Texas Rangers. 10-9 Royals. We'll be right back.